Chapter 12:12. He didn't dare stay here for too long. Since a calamity grade like Tsukumi had appeared, there might be other calamity grade existences. It would be a tragedy if he encountered a calamity grade that won his life. Using the singularity universe, Zhou returned to Earth. The coordinates were also inaccurate, so he didn't directly return to Luoyang. This is Holy City? Zhou carefully sized up his surroundings and realized that he was standing in a small alley. There were people coming and going on the streets. He used Truth Listener to scan and realized that this was Holy City. Back then, Wang Mingyuan had used the power of the 6 holy temples to break through the barrier between Earth and the dimension and forcefully enter it. At the same time, he had almost destroyed the Holy Land. This was indeed Holy City, but it was different from the tragic state back then. Now, Holy City had been rebuilt. Although it was slightly inferior to its previous scale, it could be considered a medium-sized human city. However, the defensive barrier of Holy City hadn't been repaired. It had lost its greatest barrier and could only rely on human experts to protect it. According to what Zhou knew, the League government that Hui Haifeng led was in the Holy Land. This place was chosen by Hui Haifeng himself. As for why he didn't use the previous presidential office, Zhou didn't know. He took out his phone and took a look. It was still downloading. It didn't look like it would finish downloading that quickly. Since I'm here, I might as well take a look at Hui Haifeng. Zhou used Truth Listener to identify the buildings in Holy City and easily found the presidential office building. However, Zhou used Truth Listener to scan the interior of the building, hoping to find Hui Haifeng and teleport over. However, he realized that Truth Listener's power couldn't enter the building. The ring-shaped building wasn't shielded by an unknown force. It was impossible to probe the situation inside. Interesting. I wonder if Hui Haifeng did it, or if it was done by an expert in the League. Zhou couldn't find Hui Haifeng, so after some thought, he gave up on the idea of finding Hui Haifeng. What are you doing here? Just as Zhou was about to teleport away from Holy City, a boy with a school bag walked over. He looked to be about 5 or 6 years old. He wore a wide black-rimmed glasses that covered half his face. At that moment, the boy was looking at him in puzzlement as he sized him up. I was passing by, Zhou answered. Passing by. The boy looked back at the alley before his gaze returned to Zhou's face. His expression seemed to say, "Are you retarded?" Zhou took a careful look and realized that the alley was a dead end. Furthermore, there was only one house in the entire alley. There was only one door. Zhou's excuse of passing by seemed a little forced. However, Zhou didn't care about these details. He smiled and said, "I took the wrong path. I'll leave now. Don't go yet." As the boy spoke, he took off his backpack and placed it on the ground. After opening it, he took out something and threw it at Zhou. "Count yourself lucky. Take this." Zhou caught the item and saw that it was a palm-sized crystal bottle. Inside the bottle was a golden liquid. "What is this? Why are you giving it to me?" Zhou looked at the golden liquid in the bottle before looking at the boy in puzzlement. The little boy didn't seem to be plotting against him on purpose, not to mention the fact that he was too young to do this kind of thing. Even if someone really wanted to plot against Zhou, no one knew that he was coming to Holy City. It was impossible for them to plot against him in advance. "I forgot. This is a special mythical fluid. You ordinary people have never seen it before." The boy revealed an enlightened expression before saying to Zhou, "It's fine if you don't know it. This is a type of mythical fluid, a very high-level one. It's different from the ones circulating on the market. Children above the age of 3 can use it. The effects aren't as intense as the typical mythical fluid. It won't completely fuse at the beginning, and there will be a long process. This way, the burden on the body won't be too heavy. The fusion effect will be better, and it will be more suitable for the body. However, you're a little too old. Even if you use it, the chances of you advancing to the mythical stage are very slim. I suggest you give it to the children at home. It's best if they're between 3 to 6 years old. Of course, you can also use it yourself. There will still be some benefits." With that said, the boy packed his school bag and carried it again before turning to leave. Wait. Zhou felt that the boy was very strange. He didn't know whose child he was. "Is there anything else you don't understand?" The boy turned around and asked Zhou. He didn't show any signs of impatience. Why are you giving me this mythical fluid? Zhou asked as he pointed at the tiny bottle. Don't you want it? The boy didn't answer and only returned with a question. No. Zhou shook his head. The boy propped up his glasses with his fingers and looked at Zhou in puzzlement. According to what I know, it's hard to find an ordinary mythical fluid outside. Many people fight to the death to buy a bottle. Such a new mythical fluid might not even be able to be bought with money. Do you really not want it? As the boy spoke, he seemed to come to a realization. He looked at Zhou and said, You don't have to doubt it. This is a real mythical fluid produced by the Hui family. Just look at the symbol at the bottom of the bottle. No one would dare forge the Hui family's symbol in Holy City. Your surname is Hui? Zhou asked the boy. That has nothing to do with you. If you don't want it, you can return the mythical fluid to me, the boy said. Zhou roughly guessed from his expression that the boy's surname was undoubtedly Hui. However, he didn't know what his relationship with Hui Haifeng was. I believe this is mythical fluid and I want it too. However, I didn't do any work, so I can't take something from others for free. Do you have anything you need me to do? We can make a deal. That way, it won't be considered taking it for free. Zhou saw the boy's odd behavior and knew that there had to be a reason. If he really had something to do with Hui Haifeng, Zhou couldn't turn a blind eye to it. The boy nodded as though he felt that what Zhou said made sense. However, he lowered his head and thought for a moment before muttering to himself, But I don't have anything I need you to do. Anything is fine. Or if you have anything that's troubling you, you can tell me, Zhou said. The boy shook his head. It's something that even I find difficult, so it's even more impossible for you to do it. Why isn't this fellow cute at all? He doesn't sound like a child of his age at all. Zhou was somewhat depressed. The boy thought for a moment and said again, How about this? You can't do anything too difficult. Just lead the way. I want to go to Fireworks Alley to find a woman. Chapter 12:13. Fireworks Alley? Looking for women? Zhou looked at the boy with an odd expression. Then, he used Truth Listener to scan the entire holy city and quickly found Fireworks Alley. However, after figuring out where Fireworks Alley was, Zhou's expression turned even odder. He originally imagined that the place only had a name that was easily misunderstood. It should be a normal place where the boy wanted to find his family and friends. But now, Zhou realized that Fireworks Alley was really Fireworks Alley. It was a place of debauchery, and there were strange men coming and going. The rest were strange women. Don't tell me you don't even know where Fireworks Alley is? I heard from Aquan that all the men in Holy City know where Fireworks Alley is, the boy said with a frown. I know, but who are you looking for in such a place? Zhou asked. That's my business. Just lead the way. Take me there, and the mythical liquid will be yours. The boy clearly wasn't willing to say too much to a stranger. All right. Zhou didn't ask further. He wanted to follow him to see what he was up to. What's your name? I have to know how to address you, right? Zhou asked the boy. Hui play. The boy hesitated for a moment before reporting his name. You know how to play? Is it your name? Zhou looked at the boy with an odd expression. Let's go now. I don't have much time. In 2 hours, I have to return to practice the piano. Following that, there's still the violin, zither, eru. The boy raised his wrist and looked at his watch. Why are you learning those? Zhou was even more curious. In this era, he had heard of people forcing children to cultivate primordial energy arts, but he had never heard of anyone making a child practice so many musical instruments. Why do you have so many whys? If you aren't leaving, I'll leave by myself, Hui Play said as he walked towards the alley. I'm leaving now, Zhou said as he walked. Fireworks Alley is very long. Do you have an exact address? Hui Play shook his head. No. Then do you know the name of the woman you're looking for? Zhou asked again. I only know that others call her Ah Kai, Hui Play said after some thought. It's much easier if you have a name. You can ask when you get there. Why are you looking for Ah Kai? Zhou continued probing. But this time, Hui Play didn't answer him. She just walked on. Seeing that Hui Play was ignoring him, Zhou didn't ask further. After all, he already knew that Hui Play was going to find Ah Kai. All he needed to do was follow him and prevent anything from happening to him. This was the central area of the sacred city, while Fireworks Alley was in a relatively remote area. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a slum area. In order to save time, Zhou summoned an inconspicuous mount companion beast and brought Huiplay over. To his surprise, Huiplay didn't sit on Zhou's companion beast. He took out a blanket from his backpack. It was unknown what method he had used to seal a companion beast on it. Although companion beasts weren't Huey's to play with, she could control the blanket to fly by pressing a few buttons on the blanket. We could easily control a 5-year-old child. What's this? Zhou looked curiously at Huey's flying carpet. This is a pet flying carpet that our family has just developed. It hasn't been mass-produced yet, and it's not sold on the market. If you want it, you'll have to wait at least 3 months. However, there will only be some trial products when that time comes. It won't be sold on a large scale, Huiplay explained. The Hui family really knows how to cause trouble. This thing is quite interesting. Zhou sized up the flying carpet, and after looking at it for a while, he roughly knew how it was done. Although the method wasn't difficult, the person who could do it was undoubtedly a genius. Soon, the two of them arrived at Fireworks Alley. The combination of them, one big and one small, and the flying carpet, was very eye-catching. Many girls standing at the shop's entrance were staring at them. The bolder girls even wanted to come over and pull them. Huiplay wasn't shy at all. He didn't look like a 5-year-old child at all. Little friend, you're so cute. Why don't you come to my shop to play? A girl came over to pull Huiplay over. Hello, sister. I'm looking for Akai. Do you know where she is? Huiplay asked. The girl who had reached out to pinch Huiplay's cheeks suddenly had a drastic change in expression. As though she had been electrocuted, she retracted her hand and turned to leave. She even whispered, I don't know. Sister, do you know where Akai is? Huiplay sat on the flying carpet and asked each shop. However, everyone he asked, regardless of gender, turned around and left as though they had been bitten by a snake or scorpion. Some shops even pulled down the shutter doors as though they were the plague. Interesting. Zhou originally only wanted to ensure that Huiplay could return safely, but now he realized that this matter was much more interesting than he had imagined. Be it the girls or the guests who entered the tavern, all of them wished they could escape immediately when Huiplay asked for Akai's name. A person's name actually had such magical power. Now, even Zhou was somewhat interested in Akai. As the two of them walked, the originally bustling Fireworks Alley suddenly became deserted. The taverns and dance halls were almost closed. The reason why it was almost closed was because there was still one tavern that hadn't closed. The sign of the tavern was still lit, and the door wasn't closed. Zhou saw that the sign said no tavern. Huiplay was still a child after all. Although he found it odd, he still wanted to find Akai. Seeing that the tavern was still open, he decided to enter and ask if the people inside knew where Akai was. However, before Huiplay could enter, someone pulled open the curtains and came out. It was a middle-aged man with a fierce face. He looked somewhat ferocious. Go back. The person you are looking for isn't here, the middle-aged man said. Do you know where Akai is? Although Huiplay was young, he was very smart. He immediately realized that there was something wrong with the middle-aged man's words. It's still not too late to leave now. The middle-aged man ignored Huiplay and said to Zhou. He thought that Zhou was someone sent by Huiplay's family to protect him, but he was wrong. I'm afraid it's already too late. As Zhou spoke, he turned his head and saw a large number of people with weapons on both sides of the long street. They blocked both ends of the long street. They didn't say a word as they surrounded Zhou and Huiplay. It looked like they wanted to block them. Come in. The middle-aged man frowned slightly as he dodged the door and said to Zhou and Huiplay. Chapter 12:14. Just as Huiplay was about to say something, Zhou had already pulled him in. Although he didn't think much of these people, he couldn't possibly cause a bloodbath in Hui Haifeng's territory. After entering the izakaya, Zhou realized that it was deserted. Apart from a male bartender and a female attendant, there wasn't a single customer. Little friend, what would you like to drink? A girl in a bunny costume walked over and bent down to ask Huiplay with a smile. I'm not drinking anything. I'm here to look for Akai. Is she here? Hui Gue said. Give him a cup of hot milk, the bartender said. The bunny maiden responded and quickly placed a cup of hot milk in front of Hui Gue. Little friend, try it. It's delicious. What would you like to drink? The bunny maiden asked Zhouwen. What do you have? Zhouwen asked. Hot milk, iced milk, and yogurt, the bunny maiden answered. Isn't this an izakaya? Zhouwen looked at the bunny maiden in puzzlement. Why was it all about milk? Was this an izakaya or a milk shop? First time at Fireworks Alley? The bunny maiden asked. It's my first time here. Zhouwen nodded. No wonder. Didn't you see that our shop's name is izakaya? It means that we don't sell alcohol. We only sell milk products here, the bunny maiden explained. Fireworks Alley sells milk. Zhouwen's expression was somewhat odd. This was the first time he had heard of such a shop. Furthermore, it was opened in a place like Fireworks Alley. It would be a wonder if business was good. It was no wonder it was so deserted. Then give me a cup of hot milk. Zhouwen had no choice but to order a cup of hot milk. Just as the bunny maiden brought the milk over, the people outside had already blocked the izakaya's entrance, blocking it completely. Hand him over. Zhouwen heard someone shouting outside. However, it wasn't a random shout. Only a leader was speaking. Hand him over. The middle-aged man, standing at the door, said coldly. Old demon, stop pretending. Do you think we are all blind? The moment the leader said that, the crowd behind him immediately became enraged. Instantly, the shouts shook the sky as though the black mass of people was about to rush in. Is it convenient for us to stay here? Zhouwen asked the bartender. He could naturally tell that this wasn't an izakaya. In fact, the bartender was in charge. Perhaps he was the boss. You order the milk, so you're my customers. No one can bully my customers in my restaurant, the bartender said calmly. But something doesn't seem right outside. Zhouwen heard the commotion outside. The bartender looked at the door and said, Old devil, let them in. The bartender's words silenced the clamor outside. After a while, the old monster led the leader in, but he was the only one who came in. There were so many people outside, but they just stood outside. No one dared to come in. Milkman, the leader called out to the bartender with a forced smile. Brother Gene, they are just two ignorant children. They don't mean any harm. Don't embarrass them, said Brother Milk. Milk bro, aren't you giving me too much credit? Just call me Old Gene. Since you have spoken, I won't say anything else. I can let them go. However, Brother Milk, don't make things difficult for us. We can't let them stay in Fireworks Alley anymore, Old Gene said. Before Brother Milk could say a word, Hui Wan directly said, Why can't I stay in Fireworks Alley? I want to find Akai. I won't leave until I find her. Brother Milk, as you can see, it's not that we don't know what's good for us. It's just that we can't explain ourselves when we return, Old Gene said with a bitter expression. Sorry to trouble you. Give me some more time, Brother Milk said as he looked at Zhouwen. Shouldn't you take him back? It's none of my business if he wants to come or go, Zhouwen said with a shrug. He was just a bystander. The commotion seemed to be getting more and more interesting. Brother Milk was taken aback when he heard that. Old Gene was sensible. Upon seeing this situation, he stood up and said, How about this, Brother Milk? I'll wait for you outside. I reckon that my lord won't be able to rush over in half an hour. After half an hour, I really can't guarantee anything. You know my lord's temper. Sorry to trouble you, Old Gene, Brother Milk said. Brother Milk, what are you saying? It's only right, Old Gene said as he left the izakaya. However, he didn't leave and got someone to wait outside. Are you really not leaving? Brother Milk asked Zhouwen. You'll have to ask him. Zhouwen pointed at Hui Wan. I'm not leaving. I won't go back until I find Akai, Hui Wan said firmly. You're not from the Hui family? Brother Milk asked Zhouwen. No. Zhouwen nodded. Brother Milk said, Regardless of whether you are from the Hui family or not, since you brought him here, you have the obligation to bring him back safely. Leave now. You heard what Old Gene said. In half an hour, if that person really comes, I'm afraid you won't have a chance to leave. It's just finding someone. Is there a need to go this far? This child is from the Hui family, Zhouwen said. The old demon said coldly. From the looks of it, you are a hothead who doesn't know anything. It's the Hui family that's in danger. Why would the Hui family let someone like you bring a child out? I was just about to ask. What's going on? Zhouwen was also extremely curious. Hui Haifeng was now the Federation president, and Holy City was now the Hui family's territory. It was too strange for him to say that the Hui family was in danger. You really don't know anything? As the old saying goes, the ignorant are fearless. The bunny maiden chuckled as she recounted the events that had transpired. Zhou Wen's jaw nearly dropped when he heard that. He never expected such a thing to happen. Someone had actually gone to the Hui family to snatch a woman, and the Hui family didn't dare come to get her. The woman who had been snatched was the Akai that Hui one had mentioned. The person who snatched her was the owner of Fireworks Alley. No one knew his real name. All they knew was that he had a nickname, Faceless Buddha. Is it possible for someone to snatch a woman from the president's house, and the president doesn't dare come to get her? Zhou Wen felt like he was listening to a fantasy story. It's not possible, it's a fact. Don't underestimate Fireworks Alley. This is the underground market of Holy City. Countless good items flow here from all over the Federation every day. The volume is unimaginable. If the president is the ruler of Holy City during the day, then Faceless Buddha is the king of Holy City at night. The old demon snorted and said, Old Jean and the rest are giving you a chance to leave Fireworks Alley on account of Brother Milk. If you don't leave now, when that Faceless Buddha comes, it won't matter even if you have the face of God. Even if Hui Haifeng comes personally, he might not be able to bring you back. Chapter 12:15. Zhou Wen still found it unbelievable. A single person dares to fight the entire Federation alone? Furthermore, it's in such a brazen manner? The old demon said coldly, Hui Haifeng only represents the Federation government. Now, there's not only the Federation government on Earth. There's also the League of Defender, the Holy Spirit Society, overseas, and other factions. And these factions need a place to exchange resources. This place is the underground market of Fireworks Alley. Here, as long as you have money, you can exchange for anything you want. Even the 6 families need resources they don't have. There aren't many people who can balance the relationship between the various parties and get this done. Do you think the Hui family can touch such a person? With the old demon's explanation, Zhou Wen understood. The Faceless Buddha of Fireworks Alley didn't only represent himself. He also protected the interests of the Federation, the Holy Spirit Society, overseas, and even the Federation. Ignoring the fact that the Federation president didn't control the entire Federation government. Even if he could completely control the Federation, he still needed to consider carefully before touching Fireworks Alley and Faceless Buddha. However, Zhou Wen still found it ridiculous to head to the Yin family to snatch a woman. There had to be another reason. Who is that Akai? Why would Faceless Buddha snatch her? Zhou Wen asked. I'm afraid only Faceless Buddha knows. Or you can ask the Hui family. However, Faceless Buddha once issued an order to forbid anyone from the Hui family from entering Fireworks Alley. He's a man of his word. Back then, there were people from his 6 families who didn't believe in him and were killed in Fireworks Alley. The old demon glanced at Hui Quan. Clearly, the Hui family he was referring to was Hui Quan. Faceless Buddha is a baddie. He was the one who snatched Akai, Hui Quan said through gritted teeth. I don't know if Faceless Buddha is a baddie, but ever since Faceless Buddha came to Fireworks Alley, this place that was originally at the bottom of society and was bullied everywhere, no one dares to bully women like us. No one dares to kill for fun, the bunny maiden said seriously. Zhou Wen couldn't help but fall silent when he heard that. He had previously heard about it and knew that what the bunny maiden said was very realistic. As the changes on Earth became more and more severe, the living environment became worse and worse. Many women who did not have the ability to protect themselves and even had difficulty obtaining food had no choice but to take on some special jobs. However, those who could come to such places to enjoy themselves were those who had the ability, power, or money. In addition, the mental pressure was too great. In a situation where the law was weak, it was common for women to be bullied, unable to receive money, and even beaten or killed. It was not just the Holy City. Many human cities had the same problem. In that case, Faceless Buddha isn't a bad person, Zhou Wen said. He's not a human. He's the Buddha of the fireworks alley. He's the god of this place. The rabbit girl corrected him seriously. Looks like we really should go. Zhou didn't wish to be overly involved in such a complicated matter. All he wanted was to send Hui Play back safely. I won't go back until I see Akai. Hui Play was very persistent. However, he wasn't like the typical child who was purely acting in a fit of pique. He also had his own thoughts. I want to see Faceless Buddha and ask him what I can do for him to release Akai. As long as he's willing to release Akai, I'm willing to pay any price. Money or the products of our Hui family's research can be taken away as long as it's within my capabilities, Hui Play continued. Then how capable are you? How many things can you control? The old demon looked at Hui Hua with some disdain. He didn't believe that a 5-year-old child could have many resources. Even if his surname was Hui and he was Hui Haifeng's son, he would at most have some pocket money that ordinary children didn't have. If that kind of money could settle Faceless Buddha, Akai wouldn't have been forced to leave the Hui family. From the looks of it, Hui Play had really come prepared. He opened his bag and took out some documents. These are the Dimensional Zone shares I own in Holy City. There are also some Dimensional Zone shares in the North and South districts. They were all purchased from the 6 families. As long as the 6 families don't collapse, the income should be very stable. There's also my company here. I have 73% of the shares. Hui Play gave a brief introduction. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard that. Even the way Brother Milk looked at Hui Play changed. He picked up some documents and looked at them before saying with an odd expression, "These are all true." Old Monster also picked up one of the documents and looked at it. When he saw it, he immediately shouted, "The Big Play Group is yours." Hui Play nodded. "Strictly speaking, it only belonged to me after I bought it half a year ago." Zhou was somewhat surprised when he heard that. He had recently heard of the Big Play Corporation. Its main business was the combination of companion beasts and technology, such as the construction of power stations for companion beasts. They were all businesses of the Big Play Corporation. The Yin family had business cooperation with the Big Play Corporation, so it could be said to be a large corporation that spanned the Federation. You're still so young. Your family is at ease handing such a huge corporation to you? The Bunny Maiden said to Hui Play with a look of disbelief. Hui Play corrected her seriously. "No, it wasn't given to me by my family. I bought it myself. Isn't the money you used to buy it from your family?" The old demon said, "No, my money was obtained from selling inventions and investments. Apart from the experimental equipment and materials my mother gave me in the beginning, I haven't taken a single cent from my family for nothing," Hui Play said. "What inventions do you have?" the old demon asked. "An invention that was recently introduced to the market. It's called a companion egg backpack. You should have heard of it, right?" Hui Play said, "You invented the companion egg backpack." The Bunny Maiden and the old demon widened their eyes as they looked at Hui Play as though they were looking at a monster. They really couldn't believe that it was invented by such a young child. If you don't believe me, you can take a look at the contract I signed with the 6 families. The companion egg backpacks created by the 6 families have all purchased my technology. Hui Play flipped through some information from the thick stack of documents for them to see. When Old Yao and the others went to watch Hui Play again, they could no longer treat him as a child. As long as Faceless Buddha is willing, I can use all of this to exchange for Kai, Hui Play said. Although you are indeed very sincere, there are some things that can't be resolved with money. It's best you leave quickly, Brother Milk said. Zhou naturally knew that if money could resolve the problem, Faceless Buddha wouldn't have forcefully snatched Akai from the Hui family. Why? The total value of all of this is enough to buy half of Holy City. Isn't it enough to satisfy Faceless Buddha? Hui Play clearly didn't understand. He might be a super genius in certain aspects, but in most aspects, he was still a child. Chapter 12:16. It's not enough. Brother Milk didn't explain further, as he simply said 2 words. How much more? Hui Play asked seriously. 100 times. Brother Milk had only said that number because he wanted Hui Play to return. He didn't believe that Hui Play could really do it, at least not in a short period of time. All right, I'll earn more money when I return until I can exchange for Akai. Hui Play was only a child after all, so he took Brother Milk's words seriously. All right, I'll send you out. Brother Milk sent Zhou 1 and Hui Play out. Old Jean couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief when he saw Brother Milk bring Zhou 1 and company out. He didn't wish to have a conflict with Brother Milk. Everyone, they are just children. Can you not make things difficult for them and leave them a way out? Brother Milk said to the crowd. Since you said that, it must be a misunderstanding. Old Jean hurriedly chimed in. Most people still gave Brother Naughty Boy face and automatically made way for him. Zhou thanked Brother Milk and company and was about to leave with Hui Play when he suddenly heard strange hoofbeats. Everyone's expression changed when they heard the hoofbeats. Even a Milk Bro's face turned pale in an instant. Zhou immediately realized what had happened as he turned his head to look in the direction of the hoofbeats. He saw a person slowly walking over on a two-headed dragon. The two-headed dragon was pitch black in color, as though it was carved out of black gemstone. Every scale emitted a dark glow, as though it was an abyss in a mirror. The person sitting on the dragon's back was extremely muscular and tall. He was nearly 3 meters tall, making him look like a giant. However, although he was muscular, he didn't appear clumsy. His muscles were firm and streamlined, making him look like he was filled with explosive strength, contrasted by the tight-fitting black armor. He looked even more domineering and mysterious. He couldn't see his appearance, only a faceless mask. Upon seeing the mask, Zhou roughly guessed who he was. In fact, there was no need to guess. The reaction of the people in Fireworks Alley was enough to explain everything. The person was likely the godlike faceless Buddha in Fireworks Alley. Wherever the faceless Buddha passed, everyone automatically retreated to the two sides of the street. They put their palms together and bowed their heads as if they were praying to Buddha. No one even dared to raise their head to look at the faceless Buddha. Old Jin's face was pale. When he saw the faceless Buddha coming from afar, he knelt down before the faceless Buddha and said, "Your Excellency, I saw that they were just children and thought it was just a prank, so I wanted to let them go." Even the well-respected milkman was a little less free and easy in front of the faceless Buddha. He said solemnly, "Sir, this matter has nothing to do with Old Jean. I forced Old Jean to let them go. They are just children. You won't argue with them, will you? Didn't I tell you that people from a Hui clan are not allowed to enter the Fireworks Alley?" Faceless Buddha said indifferently. "Yes," Milk Bro answered bitterly. "Are they from the Hui clan?" Faceless Buddha asked again. Brother Milk opened his mouth but didn't know how to answer. "I'm from the Hui family. My name is Hui Play. I came here on my own. It has nothing to do with them." As Hui Play spoke, he came in front of the horse and took out all sorts of contracts from his backpack. As he did so, he introduced the value of the items. "As long as you let Akai go, these are all yours. If you think it's not enough, you can name a price. 10 times or 100 times is fine. I'll give it to you as soon as possible." Hui Play's tiny body stood in front of the majestic two-headed dragon without any fear. "Even if it's 1,000 times or 10,000 times, it won't be enough to exchange for Akai," Faceless Buddha said indifferently. Hui Play froze. Although he was very good at earning money, it was still too difficult to make 1,000 times or 10,000 times. Furthermore, even if he could earn it, the other party wouldn't be willing to exchange for Akai. This made him feel unprecedentedly helpless. Only then did Hui Play act like a normal child. He looked at Zhou helplessly, his eyes filled with helplessness and unease. The two-headed dragon continued walking forward and was about to bump into Hui Play. Thinking that Faceless Buddha was really going to attack Hui Play, Brother Milk hurriedly pulled Hui Play back, but he didn't dare attack Faceless Buddha. He pleaded, "Lord, he's just a child. Even if his surname is Hui, what the Hui family does has nothing to do with him. Please let him go." Only Brother Milk still dared to speak. The others, like Old Gold and Old Demon, didn't even dare breathe loudly. The pressure Faceless Buddha exuded was just too terrifying. It was as though this person was born with a terrifying sense of oppression. Despite Brother Milk's pleas, the two-headed dragon didn't stop. However, Faceless Buddha didn't attack Hui Play either. The two-headed dragon walked past them and came in front of Zhou Wen. When did your surname become Hui? Faceless Buddha looked at Zhou Wen and asked an unexpected question. It left Brother Milk, Old Demon, and company stunned. When did my surname become Hui? Don't you know what my surname is? Zhou Wen said with a smile. He could already tell who Faceless Buddha was the moment he appeared. When did you come? Faceless Buddha asked again. I just arrived today, Zhou Wen answered. When are you leaving? Faceless Buddha asked again. I was planning on leaving now, but since you're here, I have to make you bleed a little. I'll have a feast before leaving, Zhou Wen said with a smile. Come on up. Faceless Buddha turned the two-headed dragon around, clearly indicating for Zhou Wen to sit on it. This action caused everyone in the fireworks alley to widen their eyes. Although the Faceless Buddha was the king of the fireworks alley, he had always been a loner and never brought anyone with him. No one had ever been to where he lived, let alone riding on the Faceless Buddha's horse. I brought this child here. I have the responsibility to send him back safely. Can I bring him along? Zhou Wen knew that this person was definitely not someone who would attack a child. Up to you. You decide. Faceless Buddha's answer left everyone agape in shock. Old Demon, Old Gold, and company stole glances at Zhou Wen. They had never heard of anyone who could make Faceless Buddha make such concession. Back when a member of the Cape family beat up a woman in Fireworks Alley, Faceless Buddha broke all the person's limbs and ordered that the Cape family was not to enter Fireworks Alley for 3 months. In the end, a young man from the Cape family didn't think much of it and came to Fireworks Alley. In the end, he was mercilessly killed by Faceless Buddha. The Cape family didn't do anything to Faceless Buddha. Now, because of Zhou Wen's words, not only did Faceless Buddha spare Hui Play, but he was even willing to let Hui Play, a member of the Hui family, go to his house. This was unbelievable. Hui Play also looked at Zhou Wen in a daze as he stood there motionless. It was unknown what he was thinking. Zhou Wen pulled Hui Play and boarded the two-headed dragon's back. Under the gazes of everyone in Fireworks Alley, the two-headed dragon disappeared into the depths of the long street. And the person presiding over this place has to have nothing to do with any party. At the same time, he has to be trusted by many parties. It shouldn't be difficult to find such a person, Zhou Wen said. It's not difficult to find such a person, but there aren't many who aren't human, Gu Jian said expressionlessly. Zhou Wen couldn't help but fall silent. Half of Gu Dian's bloodline didn't belong to humans. Although Zhou Wen and the members of the Xinwen Club didn't mind, he would still be classified as an anomaly among the entire human population. However, Gu Jian didn't seem to mind as he continued. Most importantly, the dimension also needs an inhuman person like me to work for them. That's why I can become the Faceless Buddha of Fireworks Alley. Dimension? Zhou Wen's body trembled. If Gu Jian were to join the dimension, how would Gu Jian fare when Zhou Wen fought the dimension in the future? There are some things here. Take a look. After you're done, destroy it. If there's nothing else, don't come again. Gu Jian took out a bag and handed it to Zhou Wen. What is it? Zhou Wen asked. Take a look for yourself when you get back. With that said, Gu Jian stood up and walked out of the yard. Seeing that he was determined to send him off, Zhou Wen had no choice but to put away the bag and get up to walk out of the yard with Gu Jian. Akai, you really don't have to be afraid. I'll definitely save you. Hui Play still didn't believe that Akai had stayed here willingly. Just as Akai was about to explain, Gu Jian grabbed Hui Play's head and raised him in front of him. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. I want to save Akai. Hui Play punched and kicked in the air, but his tiny arms and legs couldn't touch Gu Jian at all. Come back when you have the ability to save her. Gu Jian casually threw Hui Play to the ground. Hui Play's buttocks were about to split into 8 pieces as he cried out in pain. Then, Gu Jian returned to the yard with Akai, and the door was closed. Hui Play gritted his teeth and got up, but he didn't chase after them, nor did he clamor to save Akai. Let's go back. Zhou Wen left Fireworks Alley with Hui Play. This time, Hui Play didn't insist on staying. This time, when they passed by Fireworks Alley, everyone consciously made way for them. Not long after walking out of Fireworks Alley, Hui Play suddenly asked Zhou Wen seriously, "Faceless Buddha is very polite to you. You must be very powerful, right?" "It's SOSO. It's passable," Zhou Wen said with a shrug. "Who's stronger, you or Faceless Buddha?" Hui Play asked again. "I've never competed, so I don't know. Why are you asking this?" Zhou Wen looked at Hui Play in surprise. "I want to defeat Faceless Buddha. No one in the Hui family can be stronger than Faceless Buddha. I want you to teach me. Feel free to state any conditions you have. As long as it's within my means, I'll do it." Hui Play's face was very serious. "I don't lack money," Zhou Wen said with a smile. Hui Play immediately panicked as he hurriedly said, "Do you have a companion beast or mythical fluid you want? I can think of a way to help you obtain it." "Can you obtain such a companion beast?" "If you can obtain it, I'll teach you." Zhou Wen summoned Banana Fairy. Hui Play watched as Banana Fairy's beautiful figure gradually disappeared from his sight and couldn't help but widen his eyes. "A humanoid, terror-grade companion beast? How about it? Do you still want to learn from me?" Zhou Wen said with a smile. Hui Play lowered his head, but he quickly raised it again and said with a serious expression, "I can work for you. I'm still very young. I can't obtain such a companion beast now, but in 10 or 20 years, I'll definitely be able to obtain it. In these 10 years, no, 20 years, I can work for you." Seeing that Zhou Wen's expression didn't change, Hui Play continued guiltily, "Why don't 30 years? If you were to work for me for the rest of your life, would you be willing?" Zhou Wen asked Hui Play with a smile. Hui Play's body trembled, but his gaze quickly turned firm. He looked at Zhou Wen and said, "If you can guarantee to help me defeat Faceless Buddha, I can work for you for the rest of my life." Zhou Wen looked at Hui Play in surprise and asked, "Is Akai that important to you?" "It's not just for Akai. I can't let my family be hurt like Akai. I want to have the power to protect them. Money can't do it," Hui Play said. Chapter 12:18. I can teach you, but how much you can learn will depend on your talent and hard work. "I can't guarantee that you will definitely be able to defeat Faceless Buddha," Zhou Wen said. "I understand. Does that mean you're willing to teach me?" Hui Play said happily, "I can teach you. I don't need you to work for me forever. I just need you to help me do 3 things, Zhou Wen said. "What 3 things?" Hui Play hurriedly asked. "I haven't thought of it yet. I'll tell you when I have an idea." Zhou Wen didn't plan on getting Hui Play to help him with anything. He had only said it casually. To his surprise, Hui Play was very serious. "As long as it doesn't violate morals or harm my family and friends, I'll definitely do the 3 things you request of me, even if I have to give up everything." "That's good." Zhou Wen nodded. "When will you begin teaching me?" Hui Play pressed anxiously. "What do you want to learn?" Zhou Wen asked. This question left Hui Play stumped. Although his knowledge far exceeded that of children his age, he didn't know what he should learn to defeat Faceless Buddha. Of course, it's to learn your most powerful ability that could defeat Faceless Buddha. Hui Play thought for a moment before saying, "Does the primordial energy art you cultivate have any special physique requirements?" "I don't have any special physique, but I can use mythical fluid to change it." "Let me take a look," Zhou Wen said as he grabbed Hui Play's hand and injected his primordial energy into his body. Zhou Wen used the demon god body, so he didn't need to transform into Hui Play. All he needed to do was understand his body. Moments later, Zhou Wen dispelled the demon god body and said to Hui Play, "Your body really doesn't have any special physique. I can give you 2 choices. These 2 primordial energy arts are suitable for you. One choice is to cultivate the Qi refinement art. This primordial energy art is very difficult to cultivate. Not only does it require massive amounts of resources, but it also requires perceptivity and hard work. If you cultivate it well, you can become a first-rate expert or top expert in the future. If you don't cultivate it well, you can barely become a third-rate expert with large amounts of resources. Everything depends on your own efforts and hard work." There's another one called the Ancient Sovereign Sutra. This primordial energy art requires fewer resources than the Qi refinement art, but it has extremely high requirements on one's talent and perceptivity. If one succeeds, they might soar. If not, they won't even be considered third-rate. it'll be difficult for them to achieve anything in their lives. Which one will you choose? Huiquan thought for a while and quickly made his choice. I choose the Qi refinement art. Why did you choose the Qi refinement art? Zhou was somewhat surprised. Typically, geniuses who were confident in themselves would choose the latter. Hui Gui answered, talent is something that can't be controlled. I don't like things that can't be controlled, so I want to cultivate a primordial energy art that I can control. All right, I'll teach you the Qi refinement art. Upon hearing Hui Gui's words, Zhou began to like the child. He indeed had thoughts and qualities that ordinary children found difficult to see. Even though his cultivation talent might not be top-notch, as long as he maintained such thoughts, coupled with the Hui family's rich capital, he would more or less achieve something in the future by constantly cultivating his essence energy art. Zhou immediately taught the Qi refinement art to Hui Gui. Hui Gui was really smart and had a terrifying memory. Having a photographic memory was just a basic skill. Can the Qi refinement art really make me an expert who can defeat the faceless Buddha? After Hui Gui memorized the Qi refinement art that Zhou had imparted to him, he couldn't help but have some doubts. Hui Gui wasn't doubting Zhou. He just wanted Zhou to demonstrate the might of the Qi refinement art to give him some confidence. I've said before, whether you can defeat the faceless Buddha depends on how much effort you put in. The more effort you put in, the greater your future achievements will be, and the more likely you are to defeat the faceless Buddha. Zhou had no intention of demonstrating. Then can you use the Qi refinement art to defeat the faceless Buddha? Hui Gui asked again. I don't know, Zhou answered. Hui Gui was somewhat disappointed, but it was better not knowing than being certain that he couldn't beat it. As the two of them spoke, they had already walked out of Fireworks Alley. Not long after they walked out of Fireworks Alley, they were surrounded by a group of soldiers. One of them was a well-dressed man with glasses. He walked in front of Zhou and stared at him. Who are you? Why did you bring young master to Fireworks Alley? Secretary Liu, this is the coach I hired. Arrange for him to stay in my yard, Hui Gui said. Secretary Liu couldn't help but frown slightly when he heard Hui Gui say that. Young master, you already have many coaches. If you still wish to learn anything, I can hire the best experts in the league for you. Such a person of unknown origins can't be brought into the manor. It's against the rules. Otherwise, we won't be able to answer to the president. I'll explain this to father myself. As Hui Gui spoke, he pulled Zhou hand and walked forward. He knew that Liu Yujin was a very strict person. He always maintained a suspicious attitude towards everyone and everything. In his eyes, anyone was either a criminal or a suspect. Ignoring Zhou, even if the heads of the 6 families came, Liu Yujin would treat them as suspects. After all, ever since Hui Gui began to remember things, Liu Yujin's ice-cold face hadn't changed at all. Secretary Liu called an officer over and whispered a few words into his ear before leading his men to follow. Instead of calling it protection, it was more like strict surveillance. May I know how to address you, sir? Secretary Liu asked as he walked beside Zhou. Liu Yujin didn't look down on Zhou because of his young age. However, even if he didn't know all the young geniuses in the league like the back of his hand, he was still familiar with them. He compared Zhou's appearance to experts of the same age in the league, or even overseas, but he realized that he was unable to confirm Zhou's identity. It was no wonder that Liu Yujin didn't even know Zhou. He knew the name Zhou, and he had even seen Zhou's photos in the past. However, the photos he had seen were all of Jing pretending to be Zhou. There was already a difference in temperament, and in the 5 years she had been pretending to be Zhou, and Jing had been guarding Chess Mountain. She had chosen to keep a low profile, so Zhou's name had been silent for too long. Zhou answered. Liu Yujin was slightly taken aback when he heard that. After carefully sizing up Zhou, he frowned and said, Are you Zhou from Luoyang? He was very confident in his memory. Although he had only seen the Zhou in photos, and the Zhou in the photos was somewhat similar to the Zhou in front of him, he still felt that they weren't the same person. I went to school in Luoyang and stayed there for quite some time, Zhou answered. Are you family with Overseerin? Liu Yujin asked again. No, not really. Zhou Wen's answer left Lu Yujin slightly taken aback as he sized up Zhou Wen again in surprise. Chapter 1219. Under Lu Yujin's escort, Zhou Wen once again arrived in front of the manor. However, Hui Huan had entered through the side door the last time. This time, they entered through the main door. This was the Hui family's private residence, not Hui Haifeng's office. However, it still occupied a sizable area. After entering the door, the first thing they saw was a large, empty space. It was like a field with many soldiers training. Zhou Wen glanced at the soldiers who were practicing and realized that they were practicing a movement technique. Furthermore, it looked very familiar. Isn't this Hui Haifeng's true two movement technique? Zhou Wen quickly recalled it. Seeing Zhou Wen watch the soldiers practice their movement techniques, Hui Huan said proudly, "Zhou Wen, what do you think of their movement techniques?" "It's a so-so," Zhou Wen said casually. Half of the name of true two movement technique was given by Zhou Wen. Hui Haifeng also said that half of the movement technique was Zhou Wen's. He was embarrassed to say how powerful the movement technique was. It felt like he was praising himself. Furthermore, this movement technique was indeed only considered average to Zhou Wen. Hui Huan originally wanted to say that this movement technique was created by his father, but when he heard Zhou Wen say that, the second half of his sentence was stuck in his throat. His face flushed red. Lu Yujin couldn't take it anymore, as she said coldly, "True two movement technique originated from the Hui family, but it's used by many families in the League's District 4. It's a movement technique that the military has to cultivate. It's been proven by countless soldiers in battles. Even the powerful Sunset Army in Luoyang is learning true two movement techniques on a large scale. Sir, if you say that this movement technique is average, there must be a better movement technique that's stronger than true two?" Hui Huan also looked at Zhou Wen. Although he believed that Zhou Wen was very strong, his father was also his pride. "My movement technique isn't good." Zhou Wen didn't wish to argue with them, nor was there a need to. This was the same logic as his left hand hitting his right hand. To Zhou Wen's surprise, true two movement technique was widely used in the military. He had to admit that Hui Haifeng was truly a genius. Unfortunately, he spent most of his energy on research and later became the president. Otherwise, with his talent, his cultivation level would be top-notch. Seeing Zhou Wen admit defeat, Lu Yujin didn't say anything else. Hui Plei was somewhat disappointed. He had mixed feelings. Although he didn't wish for his father's reputation to be tarnished, he also wished for Zhou Wen to be stronger. As long as that was the case, the things he learned from Zhou Wen would be of greater value. Hui Quan naturally wasn't happy that Zhou Wen admitted that his movement technique was lacking. "Young master, sir will be back soon. You and Mr. Zhou should wait in the guest hall for a while." Lu Yujin stopped Hui Gui from taking Zhou Wen to the backyard. Hui Huan also knew that he needed Hui Haifeng's permission. After some thought, he nodded in agreement and entered the living room with Zhou Wen to wait for Hui Haifeng's return. "I wonder what kind of ability Mr. Zhou is good at. What do you want to teach, young master?" Lu Yujin asked again after instructing someone to pour tea for Zhou Wen. After some serious thought, Zhou Wen replied, "I'm best at life preservation, but I can't teach this ability to others. Even if I did, they wouldn't be able to learn it, so I only plan on teaching Hui the primordial energy art." Life preservation? Lu Yujin was slightly taken aback. Upon hearing that Zhou Wen wanted to teach Hui the primordial energy art, her expression couldn't help but change. She said seriously, "Primordial energy arts are the foundation of everything. How can they be casually practiced? Even the primordial energy arts of the 6 families have to be carefully selected to see if they're suitable for young master's cultivation. Is your primordial energy art better than the 6 families? It's hard to say. The quality of a primordial energy art mainly depends on the cultivator's talent and ability," Zhou Wen said. The more Lu Yujin looked at Zhou Wen, the more he looked like a cheat. She couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Just as Lu Yujin was about to say something, she saw someone enter from outside. It was Hui Haifeng in formal attire. "Sir, this is..." Lu Yujin was just about to remind Hui Haifeng that there was something wrong with Zhou Wen. However, to her surprise, Hui Haifeng punched Zhou Wen in the chest the moment he saw him. Why didn't you inform me ahead of time that you were coming to Holy City? You even abducted little Play. What's the meaning of this? Are you jealous that I have a son while you don't? If you're envious, jealous, or hateful, just say it. I'll let little Play be your godson, lest you get jealous. You should keep him for yourself. I can't afford to have such a little ancestor, Zhou Wen said with a smile. Sir, Lu Yujin was somewhat surprised. From Hui Haifeng's expression, it seemed like he was certain that this was the real Zhou Wen. Hui Haifeng didn't wait for Lu Yujin to finish speaking as he directly introduced, Yujin, this is my junior, Zhou Wen. Help him get a pass so that he can enter and leave freely. It will prevent any trouble in the future. With that said, Hui Haifeng said to Zhou Wen, I don't care if you want it or not. Anyway, little Play is your nephew. Do as you see fit and teach him anything. Let me think. Teach him movement techniques first. Dad, Hui Play wore an odd expression as though he wanted to say something. Little Play, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give your Uncle Zhou a New Year greeting. There will definitely be a red packet, Hui Haifeng said with a smile. How shameless can you be? It's only the middle of the year, all right? Isn't it too early to give a New Year greeting? Zhou Wen was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. I don't care. You have to teach him anyway. He's my only son. Do as you see fit. Hui Haifeng sat down casually and poured himself a cup of tea. He ignored Zhou Wen completely as though he was a scoundrel and was proud to have a son. Dad, he said that his movement techniques aren't good. Hui Play found an opportunity to whisper. Hui Haifeng nearly spat out the mouthful of water he had just drunk. His movement techniques aren't good? If his movement techniques aren't good, is there anyone on Earth with good movement techniques? Half of the name True 2 movement technique was given by him. I was able to create this movement technique partially by imitating him. You say that his movement techniques aren't good? By the side, Lu Yujin was dumbfounded. The True 2 movement technique Hui Haifeng created had spread throughout the various military districts of the Federation. Many people, even overseas, were learning it. Yet, he was imitating Zhou Wen. I didn't say it. He said it himself. Hui Play waved his hand and pointed at Zhou Wen. Is there any point in lying to a child? No, my son's young heart has suffered a heavy blow. It will leave an indelible shadow in his life. You have to compensate. Hui Haifeng looked like he wanted to extort every last penny from Zhou Wen. I've already taught your son the primordial energy art. Is that enough for compensation? Zhou Wen said with a bitter expression. That's more like it. Hui Haifeng pressed down on Hui Play's head and asked, cultivate the primordial energy art your Uncle Zhou taught you well. There's no need to cultivate other primordial energy arts in the future. Sir, we spent so much effort to obtain the primordial energy art and the exclusive mythical fluid from the family clan of gods. Lu Yujin hurriedly reminded Hui Haifeng. With my junior's primordial energy art, what's the use of those crappy things? Hui Haifeng's words left Lu Yujin agape. Hui Haifeng hadn't said that in the past. The crappy things he referred to were top-notch primordial energy arts that he had paid a huge price to obtain from the family clan of gods. Furthermore, in order to allow Hui Play to cultivate it, he had specially created the exclusive mythical fluid that could give Hui Play a special physique. The price was unimaginable. Now, without even knowing what primordial energy art Zhou Wen had imparted to him, Hui Haifeng had described it as crappy. This change was too fast. Junior, you can't just teach me primordial energy arts. You have to teach me your movement technique. I only have this one son, and you only have this one nephew. You have to keep him alive. Hui Haifeng continued squeezing Zhou Wen. Chapter 1220. In the secret chamber, only Zhou Wen and Hui Haifeng were left. Where have you been in the past 5 years? Hui Haifeng asked Zhou Wen. How do you know that I'm not the one at Chess Mountain? Zhou Wen asked in surprise. Hui Haifeng could accurately say 5 years, so it was clearly not a wild guess. Hui Haifeng rolled his eyes. Do you think I don't know you? Even if I only look at the photo, I can tell at a glance that it's not you. All right. Zhou said helplessly. I was trapped by teacher. It was no different from death. I only came out after 5 years. Hui Haifeng nodded. I can roughly guess that you're a human sovereign, right? The dimension won't let the matter rest after killing DT on. If you don't die, the next 5 years won't be so peaceful. However, with teacher's personality, he probably won't simply let you die for 5 years. He must have some plans, right? You can say that. The place where I'm trapped, time passes very slowly. It feels like more than 100 years have passed, Zhou said. Hui Haifeng said with some jealousy, Teacher really dotes on you, his last disciple. 5 years in exchange for 100 years. If I had that much time, I might even have researched calamity-grade dimensional liquid. It's just time to think. You can't even move your body. What are you researching? Zhou was somewhat speechless. That's true. Hui Haifeng chuckled. In just 5 years, you became the Federation president. That's impressive, Zhou said. It can be considered a coincidence in many aspects. On the one hand, it's my own research, and on the other hand, teacher gave us something before he went to the dimension. Those things were very helpful to me. Hui Haifeng paused for a moment before continuing. However, my position as president is in name only. In fact, most of the Federation's real power is in the hands of the League of Defender and the Six Families. As president, I can't even completely control a holy city. Then why are you still the president? Zhou asked in puzzlement. Why not? Although it's a name only, I'm already standing in this position. I can slowly change some things and think of ways to realize my dreams. Just like an actor, only when he goes on stage can others see his acting skills and influence others. If I just stand below the stage, no matter how good my acting skills are or how much I think, I won't be able to change anyone, Hui Haifeng said. What do you want? Zhou looked at Hui Haifeng. I want there to be no more orphans in this world. Hui Haifeng sternly said, You might think it's ridiculous, but I also know that this is an almost impossible goal, but I still want to try. That's not funny. Zhou was somewhat moved. Although he didn't have such magnanimity, it didn't stop him from admiring such a person. Of course, I also want to see what it's like to stand at the top of the world. Hui Haifeng chuckled and continued. Hui Haifeng's rapid change in attitude left Zhou at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Now that you've almost done it, how does it feel to be president? It's not good. There are too many things that I can't do. Hui Haifeng shook his head, clearly not wanting to say too much. Zhou didn't ask further. This wasn't his specialty, so it was useless to ask since he couldn't help Hui Haifeng. What's going on between you and Gu Jian? Zhou asked. Some guys don't want you to be too close to Gu Jian, or rather, they don't want you to be too close to the underground market. So this happened. Hui Haifeng's words were a little vague, but Zhou still understood. The two of them chatted for a while longer, but they didn't chat for long. Hui Haifeng was just too busy. Soon, he had to leave to deal with some matters. Hui Haifeng got Zhou to stay and have a meal with him when he returned in the evening. Zhou returned to the temporary room Hui Haifeng had arranged for him and took out his phone to take a look. He realized that the Venus dungeon had been downloaded successfully. It had taken much less time than he had imagined. He clicked on the Venus dungeon and soon, the blood-colored avatar appeared on the platform at the top of the hemispherical metal building. It was likely the entrance to the metal building, but the entrance didn't open. Zhou knew that such an entrance that couldn't be opened required some special method to enter. He used human sovereign's power to forcefully break through the entrance, but he failed. The metal building was unimaginably hard. Even a Terra-grade power couldn't damage it. He tried using Truth Listener and the eyes of penetration, but he couldn't see the situation inside the metal building. After engraving the clown mask, Zhou teleported in. This time he entered. The scene in front of him changed as the blood-colored avatar was already inside the hemispherical metal building. However, the scene he saw left Zhou slightly taken aback. Below the entrance was a hexagonal room. In the middle of the room stood a metal statue that was 4 to 5 meters tall. The metal statue was bright silver and had a strange appearance. It looked like a large human wearing modern metal armor, but it was certain that there were no humans inside. It was a pure metal statue. In his left hand, there was a weapon. The weapon looked like a submachine gun, but it looked more technological than a submachine gun. The body of the gun was also bright silver metal. Just as Zhou Wen was about to attack the strange metal statue, its eyes suddenly lit up as they shimmered with a golden halo. Gotcha! Following that, Zhou Wen saw the spear in the metal statue's hand shoot flames at the blood-colored avatar. Large numbers of metal bullets shot out at an unbelievable speed. Zhou Wen controlled the blood-colored avatar to teleport behind the metal statue. He slashed down with the Shura blade formed by Heaven Azura, splitting the metal statue into two. Killed mythical creature, Metal Guard. Discovered dimensional crystal. A strength crystal dropped. Before Zhou Wen could pick it up, a door appeared on each of the 6 walls of the hexagonal room. A large number of metal guards rushed in with guns in hand. At the same time, a large number of bullets shot over from all directions. The firepower blanketed the entire room, leaving almost no room to dodge. After all, Zhou Wen was an expert who could teleport. However, he didn't choose to teleport. His body turned into his terror form and allowed the bullets to hit him. However, they passed through his body as though his body was just an illusion. The bullets failed to injure him at all. The bullets hit the wall, and many of them hit the metal guards, but the bullets quickly melted into the wall or a part of the metal guards' bodies. They failed to injure them. If they aren't at the terror grade, mythical humans will probably be killed instantly when they enter. This is only the beginning. This dungeon is rather interesting. Zhou Wen wanted to know what was deep in the dungeon. Chapter 1221. Wave after wave of metal guards rushed out of the 6 doors. With a swing of Zhou Wen's saber, a large number of metal guards were killed. The clanging of dimensional crystals falling incessantly sounded. There was even a silver metallic companion egg that Zhou Wen picked up. Metal guard. Mythical life providence. Metal life form life soul. Metal armor wheel of life soul. Bullet storm strength. 78 speed. 71 constitution. 80 essence energy. 67 talent skill. Precise shooting. Armor piercing bullets. Crazy fire and companion form. Metal submachine gun. Zhou Wen attempted to summon it in its submachine gun form, but the metal guard turned into a bright silver submachine gun like the one in their hands. He pulled the trigger at the metal guard that was charging at him. Tongues of flames sprayed out, and under the continuous impact of the recoil, bullets shot out one after another, hitting a metal guard and riddling its body like a hornet's nest. However, the metal guard's injuries quickly recovered. The metal bullets were completely useless against them. From the looks of it, it's impossible to use the metal guard to kill metal guards. I can only keep it for use elsewhere in the future. All Zhou Wen wanted to do was continue using the Shura saber to kill the metal guards that rushed in. After killing more than 100 metal guards in a row, there were finally no more metal guards that rushed in. Zhou Wen wanted to walk through the 6 doors. However, just as he approached the door, his body was repelled by a force. It was as though an invisible force was blocking the door, preventing him from passing through. Zhou Wen attempted to use teleportation to enter again, but he similarly couldn't teleport over. Even spatial teleportation was blocked by some force. Just as Zhou Wen was wondering how he could enter, an alarm sounded above one of the doors. With an ear-piercing alarm, a figure walked out of the door. It was also a metal life form, but this fellow was more than 10 meters tall. His entire body was golden in color, and he held a golden revolver in each hand. His body was burning with golden flames. After coming out, he crazily fired at the blood-colored avatar. Bullets with golden light shot at the blood-colored avatar like raindrops. Zhou Wen teleported behind the golden guard and slashed at its head with the Shura saber. However, the golden guard's joints spewed out golden flames, propelling its body rapidly to dodge Zhou Wen's strike. A terror-grade creature has appeared so quickly? Zhou Wen's eyes flashed as his saber continued accelerating in midair. With transcendent flying immortal, he caught up to the golden guard and cleaved his head into two. Half of the golden guard's head had been chopped off, revealing a large number of metal components. However, it did not die immediately. The Shura saber in Zhou Wen's hand slashed repeatedly. While dodging the golden dual spears, he sliced the man's body into several pieces, revealing a golden energy source in his chest. After destroying the golden energy source with a single slash, the golden guard finally collapsed to the ground. Killed Terrorgrade creature, golden battle god type 1. Discovered dimensional crystal. Zhou Wen picked it up and realized that it was an 89 speed crystal. He hurriedly picked it up and absorbed it. Before he could finish absorbing it, he heard another alarm. Another golden battle god walked out of another door. He was very similar to the golden battle god type 1 from before, but the golden spear in his hand was a little different. Another Terrorgrade. Zhou Wen was overjoyed. He was just worried that he couldn't find a place to grind a large number of terror creatures. The Venus dungeon was his dream dungeon. The golden battle god here had powerful attacks and defenses. Their speed wasn't slow either. They were considered a very powerful Terrorgrade dimensional creature. However, in front of someone like Zhou Wen who was good at teleportation and had powerful attacks, they were basically slaughtered. The second golden battle god didn't last long before he was slain by Zhou Wen again. Killed Terrorgrade creature, golden battle god type 2. Unfortunately, nothing dropped this time, leaving Zhou Wen somewhat disappointed. Thankfully, the third golden battle god quickly appeared. These golden battle gods looked similar. They were killed before they could touch Zhou Wen. This time, another dimensional crystal dropped from the golden battle god type 3, allowing Zhou Wen's 4 stats to reach 81 points. However, there were no signs of him advancing to the Terrorgrade. One golden battle god after another was killed by Zhou Wen. When the 6th golden battle god that walked out the door was killed by Zhou Wen, a companion egg dropped. The companion egg was made of gold and burned with golden flames. There are also magma-like cracks on the surface of the companion egg, making it look very cool. Zhou Wen was delighted as he hurriedly picked up the companion egg and chose to hatch it. Golden Battle God Type 6, Terrorgrade Life Providence, Metal Life Form Life Soul, Metal Armor Wheel of Destiny, Infinite Bullets Terraform, Golden Battle God Strength, 97 Speed, 94 Constitution, 98 Essence Energy, 98 Talent Skill, Explosive Bullet, Crazy Shooting, Rapid Shooting Companion Form. Golden Spear Type VI Zhou Wen extended his hand and a golden revolver appeared in his hand. It looked gorgeous and beautiful, identical to the one in Golden God of Combat Type VI's hand. However, the model was clearly much smaller, making it suitable for Zhou Wen to hold. Zhou Wen wanted to test the might of the Golden Spear, but no Golden Battle God continued to appear. The 6 doors fell silent, as though there were only 6 Golden Battle Gods. Just as Zhou Wen was sizing up the door, the alarms on the 6 doors suddenly sounded. The ear-piercing sound easily made one nervous. What's it this time? Just as Zhou Wen was thinking, he suddenly heard a gunshot. Before Zhou Wen could react, a hole appeared in the blood-colored avatar's head. It exploded and the phone screen went black. Thankfully, I'm in-game. Zhou Wen secretly rejoiced that he hadn't entered this dungeon in real life. The person who had killed him with a bullet was most likely at the Calamity Grade. He wanted to drip his blood to enter the Venus dungeon again, but he was notified by the system that he could only reopen the dungeon in 24 hours. Hui Haifeng hadn't returned yet, so Zhou Wen had nothing to do. He took out the bag Gu Jian had given him. When he opened the bag, he saw that it was a set of clothes. The clothes were naturally not ordinary clothes, but a high-tech combat uniform. Such combat uniforms were typically used by ordinary soldiers. To humans at Zhou Wen's level, they were basically useless. Zhou Wen felt that Gu Jian wasn't the kind of person who would give others clothes. He scanned the combat uniform and quickly found a hidden memory card in the first aid kit. Chapter 1222. He inserted the memory card into his phone and read the contents. After reading it, Zhou Wen's expression turned solemn. The content was very simple. There were no videos or pictures, only a few short words. The Rubik's Cube operation this time isn't controlled by the dimension. Zhou Wen frowned in thought. According to Gu Dian's intelligence, the dimension couldn't completely control the Rubik's Cube actions. The appearance of Venus was an operation initiated by the Rubik's Cube. According to Gu Dian's analysis, the dimension seemed to want to pass through the dimensional zones on Venus no matter what. Furthermore, it was secretly pushing for it. The League of Defender had already taken action. Many guardians contracted by humans were secretly preparing for battle and buying many items they needed. The dimensional zones are bent on obtaining the dimensional zones on Venus? What do they want from the dimensional zones on Venus? Zhou Wen's expression turned solemn after reading the information. After reading it, Zhou Wen destroyed the memory card, not daring to leave any traces behind. Otherwise, it might be restored by some special ability. I naturally can't let the dimension obtain what it wants. Since they can't interfere with the operation of the Rubik's Cube, it's much simpler. I'll explore the Venus dungeon first. Perhaps I can get it before they do. Zhou Wen wanted to enter the dungeon, but it wasn't time yet. When Hui Haifeng returned, the two of them had a meal together. Hui Play was by the side, and they chatted as they ate. After the meal, Hui Haifeng left again. Zhou Wen stayed for half a day and taught Hui Play some of the keys to cultivating the Qi refinement art before letting him practice by himself. The Qi refinement art was actually a primordial energy art that wasn't easy to make mistakes. As long as he had the help of primordial energy crystals, there wouldn't be too many problems with cultivation. After leaving the Hui family, Zhou Wen constantly teleported back to Luoyang, hoping to return before the countdown ended. However, the changes to Earth were too intense. It took longer than Zhou Wen had expected to return to Luoyang. By the time he returned, the huge metal building had already floated out of magma. Only the hemispherical metal part was exposed beyond the magma. No one knew how deep it was. Just as the Venus dungeon appeared, the gold man who had previously appeared once again arrived in front of the metal building. Without any hesitation, he landed on the platform at the top of the hemispherical building. Thankfully, Zhou Wen had already arrived at a place with a phone signal. He could watch the live stream with his phone. I teleported in. That gold man doesn't look like he knows any spatial skills. How'd he get in? As Zhou Wen was pondering over it, he saw the gold man cut off a piece of gold from his body and place it on the platform. After that piece of gold touched the platform, it was as if it had fallen into a swamp and was quickly swallowed by the platform. As the gold was devoured, the platform opened automatically. The gold man immediately rushed out, and the moment he entered the hemispherical building, the entrance to the platform automatically closed. Zhou would originally imagined that he wouldn't be able to see it, but to his surprise, the Rubik's Cube turned into a scene of the building's interior. He could see the gold man standing inside the hemispherical building. Just like what Zhou Wen had encountered in-game, there was a metal guard in the building. Upon seeing the gold man, he immediately raised his metal submachine gun and fired at him. The gold man stretched out a palm, which shot out a golden light that turned into a shield of light in front of him. All of the bullets hit the shield of light and were all blocked. When a metal guard stopped shooting, the gold man's figure flashed and appeared in front of the metal guard. With a punch, he blasted the metal guard's body apart, turning it into fragments. What happened next was the same as what Zhou Wen had encountered. The 6 doors opened and groups of metal guards rushed out, shooting at the gold man from different directions. The ferocious firepower left the spectating humans terrified. They couldn't dodge at all. The gold man's shield of light couldn't block all the bullets. In the next second, the gold man's body turned translucent like a spirit body, but he could still be seen. Zhou Wen was slightly taken aback. He saw the bullets pass through the gold man's body without injuring him at all. This was undoubtedly his terror transformation. However, after the terror transformation, he shouldn't be able to see it at all. Why could he still see it? Could it be that his terror transformation is a relatively rare type? Zhou Wen thought about it and felt that something was amiss. I know, it's not that the gold man's terror transformation is rare, but that the magic cube deliberately allows ordinary creatures to see the gold man in his terror transformation. The following battle was a one-sided massacre. After the terror transformation, the gold man killed the mythical metal guards like chickens and dogs. He didn't pick up the dimensional crystals that fell to the ground. Many of the spectating humans widened their eyes as they looked at the shimmering dimensional crystals on the ground. They wished they could enter and help the Gold Man pick them up. He really isn't picking them up. Those are mythical dimensional crystals. Companion egg. A companion egg dropped. He's actually not picking it up. Soon, the Gold Man finished off all the metal guards. Following that, a familiar scene appeared. The alarm sounded as the Golden Battle God Type 1 appeared. Bam! The Golden Battle God raised a golden revolver and fired a bullet at the Gold Man. The Gold Man clearly didn't have Zhou Wen's teleportation ability, and the bullet was too fast. He couldn't shoot it, so he condensed a golden shield of light again to block the Golden Battle God's bullet. The bullet hit the shield of light, but it failed to penetrate it. Instead, the bullet shattered. However, in the next moment, something shocking happened. The shattered bullet actually turned into a white cold mist. Wherever the cold mist came into contact with, it immediately turned into an extremely strong freezing effect. First was the shield of light, then the Gold Man's body. Moments later, a thick layer of frost formed. Although the Gold Man wasn't really frozen, his mobility was severely affected. His speed became much slower. The Golden Battle God's dual guns struck the Gold Man's body. With every bullet, the freezing effect on the Gold Man's body strengthened. After a series of random shots, the Gold Man's body exploded, turning into ice shards and gold fragments. I never expected the Golden Battle God to have such a move. Zhou Wen was alarmed. This was because he had attacked too quickly. The Golden Battle God had no chance to do anything before being easily killed. Only now did Zhou Wen realize that it wasn't that the Golden Battle God was weak, but that he had attacked too quickly. The moment the Gold Man died, the Rubik's Cube screen turned back to its previous perspective, returning to a long-distance shot of Venus. Now, Zhou Wen understood that the Rubik's Cube was broadcasting the battle process in the dungeon. Since the Rubik's Cube isn't controlled by the dimension, what's its goal in doing this? Zhou Wen frowned in thought. Chapter 1223. While everyone was discussing the death of the Gold Men and the terror of the Golden Battle God, Zhou Wen thought more. Tsukuyami was forced to leave Earth, but she didn't enter the dimension. She didn't even leave the solar system. Then, leaving Earth means great danger. Where does this danger come from? With this thought, Zhou Wen pondered even more. A companion egg on the moon. Now, such a dimensional zone has appeared on Venus. Could the danger they mentioned be referring to this? Zhou Wen thought about it and felt that something wasn't right. There had to be something else he didn't know, but he couldn't figure it out. It made him feel terrible. I can't care so much. No matter what, I can't let the dimension succeed. I have to think of a way to obtain the items in the Venus dungeon. On the way back to Luoyang, everyone was discussing this matter. Old Zhou, what do you think the dimensional zone on Venus is like? Why is it being live-streamed by the magic cube? Li Xian came to Zhou Wen and mentioned the matter. How would I know? Zhou Wen also wanted to know why the magic cube was doing this. Unfortunately, the magic cube couldn't even fully control the dimension. Humans knew nothing about it. I think that the magic cube likes to watch people fight to the death. It definitely doesn't have any good intentions by creating a Venus dimensional zone this time. Could it be that it wants to lure humans to explore the Venus dimensional zone and watch them torture and kill humans? Li Xian said jokingly. That's not impossible. As Zhou Wen spoke, he suddenly saw the live stream move again. A human figure appeared on the platform of the hemispherical building. On careful look, he realized that it was a human wrapped in armor. There's really a human up there? Li Xian took a look and quickly recognized him. That's a fellow from the League of Defender. How'd he go over? It should be through the magic cube, Zhou Wen guessed. As the two of them spoke, the Guardian cut his finger and dripped a drop of blood on the platform. Then, the platform automatically opened and sucked the Guardian in. After the Guardian entered, he didn't encounter the Golden Battle God. It was still the Metal Guards that came out. When the Metal Guardians sprayed the bullets, the Guardian erupted with a terrifying frost power, freezing the bullets in the air. The Guardian was like a figure skater walking on ice, shuttling through the group of metal guards. Wherever he passed, the metal guards would be frozen into ice sculptures. When all the metal guards turned into ice sculptures and the Guardian retreated, the bodies of the metal guards that looked like ice sculptures suddenly shattered and turned into ice cubes. Unlike the Gold Man, the Guardian picked up the dimensional crystals and companion eggs on the ground. However, before he could finish picking them up, Golden Battle God had already rushed out of the door. Bullets shot out again at terrifying speeds. The Guardian also transformed into his terror form, but under the effects of the magic cube, humans could still see a transparent figure that hadn't completely disappeared. He moved quickly and dodged some bullets. However, his speed was clearly not as fast as the Golden Battle God's. He could not block a few bullets. The Guardian grabbed the bullet with both hands and pinched it between his fingers. However, the bullets exploded on their own, turning into a terrifying icy mist. However, the ice mist didn't hurt the Guardian. Instead, it made the Guardian's freezing power stronger. The League of Defenders' idea isn't bad. They're using an ice elemental Guardian to fight those strange dimensional creatures. Li Xian watched for a while and knew that the outcome was decided. However, Zhou knew that things weren't that simple. Although the Guardian's ice elemental powers did restrain the Golden Battle God Type 1, there were a total of 6 Golden Battle Gods. Their bullets were all different. This Guardian was only pure ice elemental. He could restrain one, but he would probably be at a disadvantage if he encountered the others. The Guardian fought bitterly for more than an hour before finally killing the Golden Battle God. Unfortunately, his luck wasn't good. Not even a dimensional crystal dropped, much less a companion egg. Soon, the Type 2 Golden Battle God rushed out again and shot crazily at the Guardian. The Guardian didn't dare be careless, as he condensed an ice wall to block the bullets. When the bullets hit the ice wall, they immediately exploded. However, this time, it wasn't a freezing bullet. Terrifyingly high-temperature flames quickly engulfed the entire room. Such terrifying flames were the Guardian's nemesis. His ice elemental powers were greatly suppressed, and the situation became more and more dangerous. Unfortunately, the room had always been sealed. It was impossible for him to escape. In the end, he was burned to death in the room. Ever since that Guardian, no one entered the Venus dimensional zone. The dragons, black-winged angels, and skeleton monsters who had previously gone to Venus didn't appear again. Neither did Tsukuyami. It was unknown if they were already uninterested or if they were waiting for an opportunity. Soon, Zhou received news that he could directly reach the hemispherical building through the magic cube. However, no one dared to head over for the time being. Only mythical creatures could survive on Venus. But if they entered the Venus dimensional zone, the 2 Terragrade creatures in front of them were examples. It was easy to enter, but it wasn't that easy to come out. Zhou looked at Venus on the screen and suddenly thought of an idea. In the Venus dungeon in-game, one had to wait 24 hours for death, but in reality, the Venus dungeon didn't seem to have such a restriction. The time interval between the Gold Man and the Guardian wasn't 24 hours, but the number of metal guards that appeared was the same. If he only killed the metal guards and Golden Battle God before leaving the Venus dungeon, he could kill a large number of mythical creatures and Terragrade creatures in a short period of time. The chances of companion eggs and good items dropping would greatly increase. Although Zhou, when had such thoughts, he wasn't in a hurry to take the risk. He still needed to confirm something. It wasn't easy for him to survive 24 hours and enter the Venus dungeon again. Zhou immediately entered again and grinded the metal guards and Golden Battle God inside. However, Zhou's luck wasn't that good this time. He didn't drop a Golden Battle God companion egg and only obtained a skill crystal. The skill crystal required 81 constitution and 41 fire attribute points. He also needed a metal essence energy art to absorb it. Zhou couldn't meet the requirements, so he could only give up. When the 6 alarms sounded at the same time, Zhou used spatial teleportation to leave the Venus dungeon and arrive at the platform at the entrance. It works. Zhou was overjoyed. Next, Zhou made another attempt. He got the blood-colored avatar to drip a drop of blood on the platform and used the normal method to enter the Venus dungeon. After entering, the alarms at the 6 doors stopped ringing, but he didn't see the metal guards or golden battle god again. The 6 doors were still open, and the dungeon clearly hadn't been refreshed. Chapter 1224. Zhou immediately used spatial teleportation to leave the dungeon, but this time, it didn't work. The blood-colored avatar failed to teleport out. Bang! In the next second, before a gunshot could be heard, the blood-colored avatar's head was blown off. The game screen went black again. In that case, as long as it's a creature that enters through normal means, it can only fight to the death. If it doesn't fight to the end, it won't have a chance to come out. Zhou frowned in thought. If that's the case, I can't let my own people enter. I can only wait for others to enter and reap the benefits with them. Suddenly, Zhou's eyes lit up. That's right. I can go in and pick up the loot. After all, those fellows will die if they enter. They won't be able to bring anything out. It'll be a waste if I don't take it. With this in mind, Zhou looked forward to someone continuing to enter the Venus dimensional zone. However, after a day and a half, no creature challenged the Venus dimensional zone. This was normal. Terra-grade humans, be it contracting guardians or using mythical fluid, were extremely rare. If one of them died in the League of Defender, they would probably vomit blood from the discomfort. Before figuring out the situation, they definitely wouldn't casually send anyone in. Seeing that there was nothing to take advantage of, Zhou could only continue grinding at home. As long as he ensured that the League of Defender didn't clear the Venus dungeon first, he wouldn't be able to obtain anything from the dimension. He wasn't in a hurry. 100% progress. Synthesis complete. As Zhou was grinding dungeons, a message suddenly popped up. Zhou took a careful look and realized that light concealment, shadow support, and night training had successfully fused. Let me see what I've fused. Zhou opened the fusion window and saw an ancient sword floating there. It wasn't the formlessness of concealing light, nor was it the shadow of bearing shadows, nor was it the chi of night training. It was just an ordinary sheathed ancient sword. Zhou checked the ancient sword stats and saw the words 3 Swords of the Son of Heaven. Strange. Why is it called the 3 Swords of the Son of Heaven? Zhou was puzzled as he looked at the detailed stats of the 3 Swords of the Son of Heaven. Son of Heaven's 3 swords. Terror grade, evolvable, life providence. Emperor's sword life spirit. Tao, sword wheel of fate, unkillable sword. Terror transformation, Son of Heaven strength, 99 speed, 99 constitution, 99 essence energy, 99 innate skills, none companion form, Emperor's sword. What kind of damned attribute is this? An unkillable sword? Could it be that this sword could not kill? It's a Terra-grade companion beast after all, but it doesn't even have a skill. Isn't this too extreme? Zhou was somewhat depressed. The only thing that comforted him was that the 3 swords of the Emperor had an evolvable attribute. This meant that the Son of Heaven's 3 swords might reach the Calamity grade in the future. Furthermore, the stats of the 3 swords of Emperor were rather impressive. All 4 stats were 99, making it the highest stat among all of Zhou's companion beasts. Summoning the Emperor's sword, Zhou held the hilt, wanted to pull it out to take a look. However, no matter how hard he pulled, the sword didn't budge at all. It was as though it had rusted. No way! This thing can't be pulled out? That's really an indestructible sword. Zhou fiddled with it for a while, hoping to figure out the use of the 3 swords of the Emperor. In the end, he tragically discovered that no matter what kind of strength he used, he could not pull the sword out. Moreover, there was no special force on the sword. It was no different from a hard stick. When it appeared in its original form, it was still like a dead object. It didn't even move, much less fly up to fight. Are you kidding me? Zhou was depressed. It was hard to imagine that this was a Terra-grade companion beast. Unable to figure out, Zhou had no choice but to put away the Emperor's sword and study it slowly in the future. Zhou also knew that there was definitely something special about the sword, but he couldn't figure it out. In the next few days, he didn't see any creatures enter the Venus dungeon. Zhou grinded at home. Ding! When Zhou dove into the sea again, a crisp sound of something falling sounded, causing his body to tremble. When he focused his gaze, it was a demon blood true dragon companion egg. It's finally here. Zhou was so excited that his hands trembled. After grinding for so long, he had finally obtained 9 demon blood true dragon companion eggs. He picked up the companion egg and saw that it was indeed the wordless dragon companion egg. Zhou hurriedly hatched it. The wordless dragon companion egg stats were similar to the others. There was nothing special about it, so Zhou didn't expect it to be very strong. What he wanted to know the most was if the 9 demon blood true dragons could be fused. He first placed the wordless dragon, and the game immediately notified him that it could be fused. Zhou tried to place the remaining 8 dragons, but it really worked. There was no notification of a lack of cores. When Zhou pressed the fusion button, an intense light devoured the 9 demon blood true dragons. The entire phone screen was drowned in light. When the light dissipated, a black, crystal-like companion egg appeared in the fusion box. Below was a progress bar with a percentage. From the looks of it, I'll have to wait another 2 days. Zhou wanted to know what he could fuse, but all he could do was wait. Now, he only hoped that he wouldn't fuse a companion egg like the Emperor's 3 swords. Coincidentally, I don't have any particularly good armor. I hope I can fuse a good Terragrade armor. After all, Zhou's body was only at the mythical stage. There was still a gap between him and the true Terragrade. Just like demonic neonate, she rarely participated in head-on battles because of her weak body. If he could have a Terragrade armor, it would greatly enhance Zhou. At the very least, his life preservation ability would be raised to another level. Another wish had been fulfilled. What depressed Zhou the most was that the last of the 28 Lunar Mansion's skills hadn't appeared. The main reason was that the endless sea of stars was just too big. It was a waste of time to grind it, so Zhou could only try his luck. Have you been having a good time recently? A message made Zhou, who was originally living a very leisurely life, involuntarily shiver. The message was sent by the Arch, who hadn't done anything for a long time. What's the matter? Zhou replied, but he felt very unconfident. Every time the Arch sought him out, nothing good would come out of it. Even though he already had the strength of a Terragrade, Zhou didn't dare head to Chess Mountain easily. The stronger he was, the more he could understand how terrifying the Arch was. After possessing immense strength, Zhou knew how terrifying the power of wishes was. I want to make a deal with you. The Arch quickly sent another message. Chapter 1225. When Zhou heard the word deal, he felt his scalp tingle. There was definitely no good outcome when making a deal with the Arch. Hardadef's mistake was still fresh in front of him. Ahem, the Arch. I've seen quite a number of powerful fellows among humans recently. The great Sky Fiends and Hermits in the League of Defender are especially strong. Zhou wanted to change the topic. Why don't you mention Blood Shaman and Cave Era? The Arch replied. Those two are also super strong. I haven't had the chance to say it yet, Zhou hurriedly said. Why don't I help you destroy the League of Defender? What do you think? The Arch replied mockingly. The League of Defender has nothing to do with me. It's up to you whether you're happy or not. Zhou was no longer the brat from back then. He didn't blush when his thoughts were seen through. The Arch clearly wasn't in the mood to talk to him about this. She directly sent a message and asked, You didn't contract a guardian, nor did you fuse with other creatures. How did you advance to the mythical stage? I just cultivated an essence energy art. I advanced casually, Zhou answered. The Arch naturally didn't believe him. In fact, it was impossible. If you don't tell me, I won't ask. If you continue talking to me like this, do you believe that I'll make your 5th limb grow on your head? The Arch said. Zhou really wanted to see if he could resist the Thearcha's wish power with his current ability. However, considering that the risk of a 5th limb growing on his head was too great, he decided to see what the Arch wanted to do. What deal do you want to make with me? Zhou asked. I want to ask you how you advanced. Tell me first if you advanced to the mythical stage as a pure human. The Arch asked again. Yes. Zhou thought for a moment and answered truthfully. Then that's enough. Help me get something. After it's done, I'll tell you a secret, the arch said. Can you tell me in detail? What do you want me to get? What secret do you want to tell me? Zhou thought about how to reject the arch. Your hometown is in Guide City, right? There's a fire god platform in Guide Ancient City. There's a stone saber on it. Go pull it out and give it to me. The arch sent a message. Zhou was alarmed. The arch actually wants that stone saber. What does she want? Could it be that the stone knife can help her escape? As Zhou thought, he said, I've heard of that stone saber, but it seems like no one has been able to pull it out. As long as you are a pure human advancing to the mythical stage, you will definitely be able to pull out. The arch seemed very confident and ignored Zhou's excuse. Just as Zhou was about to say something, the arch sent another message. You should have seen the situation in the Venus dimensional zone, but you might not know what that dimensional zone means. You know about the Venus dimensional zone? Zhou asked in surprise. If you can help me retrieve the stone saber, I can tell you how to pass through the Venus dimensional zone and obtain the item inside. The arch threw out the bait. What's in the Venus dimensional zone? Zhou hurriedly asked. Help me get back the stone knife, and you'll know everything. The arch immediately sent another message. Don't worry, you can slowly consider it. However, if those fellows from the dimension obtain the items in the Venus dimensional zone, I'm afraid the Earth Federation will really become a breeding ground for the dimensional zones. Let me think about it. Since the arch didn't say anything, Zhou knew that it was useless no matter how much he asked. If it were in the past, Zhou definitely wouldn't have hesitated to reject her. However, the bait the arch had thrown out was too tempting. Zhou was somewhat tempted. Zhou had already learned from Gujian that the dimension valued the items in Venus very much. If he really couldn't clear the Venus dungeon before the dimension, he might really have to borrow the Thearcha's strength. However, Zhou couldn't confirm if the arch was telling the truth, so he naturally didn't believe her easily. There's no rush. I can tell you something first. There are 6 Terror-grade golden battle gods on Venus. They can shoot bullets of different attributes. And after them, a calamity-grade metal creature will appear. Help me get the stone saber. I have a way for you to kill that calamity-grade metal creature. What's the name of that calamity-grade metal creature? Zhou knew that the arch wasn't spouting nonsense. He had already seen it. There was indeed a calamity grade behind it. Bring the stone saber to Chess Mountain after you've thought it through. The arch didn't answer him. After that, she didn't send any more messages. Zhou frowned and thought. From the looks of it, the arch really knows something about the Venus dungeon, but she doesn't want the items in the Venus dungeon. Instead, she wants the stone saber. Could it be that the stone saber is more precious than the items in the Venus dungeon? Or can the stone saber help her escape? After some thought, Zhou still couldn't determine what the arch was up to. The stone saber in Guide Ancient City couldn't be randomly pulled out. Otherwise, not only would Guide Ancient City break the restrictions, but a large number of high-level dimensional creatures would also appear. Even Zhou didn't know what would happen if he completely pulled out the stone saber. Zhou had also done a lot of research regarding the origins of the stone saber. The Fire God platform was also known as the Consort platform. It was the earliest place in the East District to observe the stars. As for the Consort platform, it was Fire God and also the ancestor of the Shang dynasty. Speaking of which, it was somewhat related to Chess Mountain. However, when it came to Fire God, the first person most people in the East District thought of was Zhurong and not the Consort platform. Although Zhou was a native of Guide City, the Fire God he recognized wasn't the Consort platform, but Swirenshi, the leader of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. The ancient Sovereign Sutra is engraved on the Fire God platform. Could it be related to Swirenshi? If the stone saber is related to Swirenshi, it's easier to understand. The more Zhou thought about it, the more he found it possible. With the arch saying that, Zhou had the thought of returning to Guide Ancient City to take a look. However, Zhou didn't go to Guide Ancient City to prevent himself from being used by the arch. He stayed at home and continued grinding. It was just too slow to grind the Venus dungeon once a day. He didn't get any more companion eggs. Instead, he obtained a few terror-grade dimensional crystals and fed them to Banana Fairy. Banana Fairy's stats increased significantly, reaching more than 90 on average. Unfortunately, he could only grind once a day. Most of the time, Zhou could only grind ordinary dungeons. Suddenly, the live stream on his phone became lively. Another creature arrived in front of the Venus Dimensional Zone. It was none other than the black dragon that had previously appeared. Here's my chance. Zhou perked up. It was too rare to grind the Venus dungeon once a day. Now was a good opportunity to take advantage of it. He had been staying at home for the past few days. He was either lying down or sitting down. His back pain had relapsed again, and he couldn't sit still. I'll make up for the missing chapters in a few days. Good night. End of this chapter. Chapter 1226. Let's take a look first. Zhou wasn't in a rush to head over. He planned on understanding the situation first. He mainly wanted to see what level the black dragon was. Although the possibility of it being at the calamity grade wasn't high, as the old saying went, one couldn't judge a book by its cover. However, as the old saying went, one couldn't judge a book by its cover. If it was a calamity grade, Zhou might end up being killed if he tried to take advantage of it. It wasn't just Zhou. Many people in the Federation were staring at the screen. Many powerhouses wanted to figure out what was special about Venus Dimensional Zone and why the Magic Cube was live-streaming it. The Black Dragon entered the Dimensional Zone. The situation inside was the same as before. The 6 doors were tightly shut, and there was a metal guard in the room. This was just as Zhou had imagined. In reality, every time a creature entered the Venus Dimensional Zone, the same number of dimensional creatures would appear. It felt like a game respawn, but it was also somewhat different. The Black Dragon opened its mouth and spat out a ball of dragon breath, destroying the metal guard. It looked very easy, so it was definitely at the terror grade or above. Just as Zhou saw the 6 doors open, his fingers suddenly vibrated. He took out his phone and saw that the fusion of the 9 demon blood true dragons had reached 100%. He hurriedly opened the fusion interface and saw a black demon dragon appear. However, this demon dragon was somewhat different from the demon blood true dragon from before. This demon dragon seemed to be carved from black gemstone. It didn't have 9 heads. It still had a dragon head and a pair of horns. It only had 1 pair of eyes, but in its eyes, its pupils transformed into the 8 trigrams Taiji diagram. Apart from that, its body wasn't bigger than the average demon dragon, but its aura looked much more mighty. Zhou hurriedly looked at its detailed information, hoping that it was a terror-grade armor. After all, the demon blood true dragon was originally in the form of armor. The possibility of this demon dragon being armor was very high. Limitless Demon Dragon King, Terror Grade Life Providence, Dragon King Life Soul, Demon King Wheel of Destiny, Limitless Wheel Terror Transformation, Ultimate Tao Strength, 99 Speed, 99 Constitution, 99 Essence Energy, 99 Talent Skill, Dragon Breath, Limitless Eyes, Demon Dragon Transformation, Companion Form. Armor. The companion form of the armor was within expectations, but Limitless Demon Dragon King didn't have any evolvable stats. This left Zhou somewhat disappointed. Apart from that, Zhou was very satisfied with Limitless Demon Dragon King's various skills and stats. Originally, it wasn't a set of companion beasts that produced evolvable stats. Zhou carefully looked at the various abilities of Limitless Demon Dragon King. The Dragon King Life Providence had extremely powerful immunity to all kinds of attributes. It was an exaggeration to say that the attributes could be completely immune, but it was at least 90%. As for demon monarchs, they could demonize their bodies and avoid the physical immunity characteristic. Although it wasn't a complete immunity, coupled with the Dragon King Life Providence, they had a high immunity towards all kinds of powers. Their defense was astonishingly powerful. The Infinite Wheel was the ability that Zhou valued the most. This was a skill that could freely transfer strength. Combined with the Infinite Eye, he could achieve the infinite exchange of strength between different creatures, just like the 9 demon blood true dragons from before. Joe, what? Long come Joe, to dragon out Joe. God, TT, to say to T out to Joe, tur Dao, the dragon to the Dao, the demon dragon transformation could strengthen one's body. The effects also needed to be tested in actual combat. After summoning Limitless Demon Dragon King in its companion form, the mysterious black crystal armor immediately appeared on Zhou Wen's body. Black crystal scale armor enveloped Zhou Wen's entire body, leaving no gaps. The helmet was in the shape of a dragon's head, and there was a pair of dragon horns on his head. Wearing the Dragon King armor, Zhou Wen looked like a humanoid dragon beast carved from black gemstone. He was mysterious and strange, exuding a terrifying aura. I wonder how its defense is. I'll find a chance to test it out later. Zhou Wen felt that the armor's appearance was a little exaggerated, but its abilities weren't bad. After all, the stats and skills were there. On the Rubik's Cube screen, the Black Dragon had already finished off a large number of Metal Guards. Its body was extremely strong, and the Metal Guard's bullets had almost no effect on it. The Black Dragon rushed up and tore the bullets to pieces. Many dimensional crystals and 2 Metal Guard companion eggs dropped on the ground. The humans on Earth were envious, but the Black Dragon didn't pick them up at all. Soon, the Golden Battle God type one appeared. His frost bullet struck the Black Dragon in his terror form. Although there was some freezing effect, it was obvious that it wasn't too effective. The Black Dragon pounced forward to engage in a melee battle with the Golden Battle God. Both sides had extremely strong bodies, but in the end, the Black Dragon had the upper hand. After fighting for more than an hour, it finally killed the Golden Battle God. Following that, the Golden Battle God Type 2 appeared. His flame bullet wasn't very effective against the Black Dragon, so it eventually turned into a melee battle. The Black Dragon obtained the final victory again, but it could be seen that the Black Dragon had suffered some injuries. It wasn't easy for him to expend his energy. A third Golden Battle God appeared. This Golden Battle God had a lightning bomb that had a paralyzing effect. When it hit the Black Dragon, a portion of the Black Dragon's body was paralyzed. In addition, it was already injured and exhausted. The situation looked very bad. Zhou Wen was already certain that the Black Dragon was at the Terror Grade. It was very difficult for him to defeat all the Golden Battle Gods. It was time to take advantage of them. Without any hesitation, Zhou Wen used the Singularity Universe's teleportation ability and arrived at Venus again. He wore his newly obtained Dragon King armor. Many humans in the Federation and overseas were watching this battle. As both sides weren't humans, they didn't have any obvious bias. However, the dimensional crystals and companion eggs on the ground were very tempting. Just as they were watching, the Black Dragon went berserk. It endured the paralyzing effect of the lightning bullet and rushed forward to pounce on the Golden Battle God. After a frenzied bite, it finally killed the Golden Battle God Type 3 after paying a considerable price. A golden companion egg dropped. A terror-grade companion egg. Everyone widened their eyes as they looked at the golden-like companion egg. Their saliva nearly dripped down their cheeks. That was a terror-grade companion egg with such powerful strength. Who wouldn't want it? Unfortunately, no one could enter. The Black Dragon wasn't interested in the companion egg and had no intention of picking it up. This made everyone feel even more itchy. They wished they could run in with their hooves and use their mouths to pick it up. Suddenly, a black silhouette appeared on the screen, and all the creatures watching the battle were stunned. Chapter 12:27. After seeing what it was, everyone was taken aback. Strange, the ones that appeared previously were all golden robots. Why did a black crystal suddenly appear? It's also much smaller. Is it a new species? This fellow doesn't seem to have walked out of the door. What's that? Everyone discussed. Even the Black Dragon in the room was taken aback. It didn't attack immediately. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, the Golden Battle God Type 4 walked out, leaving everyone dumbfounded. They didn't know what was going on. Why would two different creatures appear? Previously, only one Golden Battle God would appear. Before they could react, Zhou, when it had already flashed past and put away all the dimensional crystals and companion eggs on the ground, including the golden battle god type 3 companion egg. The people watching the live stream immediately fell into an uproar. They still didn't understand what had happened. Holy *T. That fellow isn't from the Venus dimensional zone. He's picking up things. That's not called picking up things. It's called picking up treasures, all right? That works too. Didn't they say that the magic cube's teleportation function can't be used when someone challenges the Venus dimensional zone? How'd he get in? Perhaps he's an otherworldly creature to begin with. Just like the gold man and the black dragon, he's in the cosmos. Then, he shouldn't be able to enter a dimensional zone, right? That's not right. No matter how I look at him, he looks like a human. He should be wearing companion beast armor, right? Human? Impossible, right? More importantly, how did he get in? As people discussed, the golden battle god had already launched an attack. However, as Zhou had retreated behind the black dragon, the golden battle god's first target was still the black dragon. The black dragon roared and spewed out dragon breath in a bid to block the golden battle god's bullets. However, the golden battle god's bullets were somewhat special. They had a strong spinning and penetrating effect. They pierced through the black dragon's dragon breath and hit its body. The bullet drilled into its flesh like a drill bit, causing blood to immediately flow out. The black dragon roared in pain. The golden battle god type IV's bullets were very destructive. They were the nemesis of an immune type like the black dragon. Furthermore, the black dragon was already severely injured, so the situation immediately became very dangerous. Seemingly knowing that he couldn't escape, the black dragon had the thought of risking his life. Withstanding the bombardment of the Secret Order's bullets, he forcefully rushed forward. Its abdomen was like a hornet's nest, but it wasn't dead. It pounced on the golden battle god and tried to bite off his head. Unfortunately, its injuries were too serious, and its strength had dissipated greatly. With the golden battle god blocking its chin with one hand, it couldn't bite down no matter what. The black dragon was still grabbing onto the golden war god, but it was no longer of much use. The gun in the golden war god's other hand was already aimed at its head. Kacha! A black figure appeared behind the golden war god like a ghost. A narrow saber pierced through the golden war god's chest and pierced through the energy source inside. The golden battle god's body instantly lost its strength. The black dragon roared and tore the golden battle god's corpse apart. A dimensional crystal dropped, and Zhou put it away without any hesitation. Then, he retreated to another corner of the room and maintained a certain distance from the black dragon. The black dragon glanced at Zhou but didn't attack. Clearly, its intelligence wasn't low. That works too? What's that fellow's background? How did he enter? The people from the various factions were guessing at Zhou's origins. In the League of Defender, the 4 Heavenly Kings, Blood Shaman, Cave Era, Great Sky Fiend, and Hermit were present. Many Guardians were also watching the battle. Sitting high up in the main seat was a masked man. His face couldn't be seen, but his eyes seemed to be clear enough to see a reflection. Without a doubt, this man was likely the owner of the League of Defender, Immortal. Cave Era, what do you think? Immortal looked at the magic cube scene and asked casually. He should be human without a doubt. Furthermore, he has very powerful spatial powers, Cave Era said. Yusuji now, who had contracted Great Sky Fiend, said, in that case, as long as one has spatial powers, even if they don't open the entrance to the Venus dimensional zone, they can still enter it. From the looks of it, that's right, Cave Era answered. If that's the case, we only need to find a guardian with the power of spatial teleportation to enter the Venus dimensional zone like that person. Now, the chances of passing through the dimensional zone are much higher, Yusuji now said. Hermit added, that might not be the case. There are many types of spatial powers. Perhaps not all spatial powers can enter. Furthermore, there aren't many guardians with spatial powers like interstellar teleportation. There are even fewer that can reach the Terragrade. If we only rely on flight, it will take too long to reach Venus. When the time comes, the Venus dimensional zone might have long been breached. Can you tell who this person is? Immortal asked again. Hermit shook his head slightly. I can't tell, but I'm certain that he's not from the Holy Spirit Society. There's only one Terragrade from the Holy Spirit Society who's good at spatial powers. We've seen him before. It's not him. Could it be Saint Pirate? Blood Shaman asked. That's very possible. Saint Pirate is best at spatial teleportation. Furthermore, such a thing seems like something he can do. However, there's no way to confirm that it's him. It might be someone else, Hermit said. Regardless of whether it's Saint Pirate or not, find him first. It's naturally best if it's him. Even if it's not him, we can use his spatial teleportation powers to send our people in, Immortal said. Yes, I'll do it now. Hermit bowed and left. Far away at the South Pole, Lu Yun, who was standing in the snow and looking at the Rubik's Cube, suddenly felt his nose itch for no reason. He couldn't help but sneeze. Who misses me? Lu Yun muttered to himself as he rubbed his nose. With the appearance of the Golden Battle God Type 5, the Black Dragon could only drag its heavily injured body to fight. Zhou Wen took advantage of the moment when the Golden Battle God was distracted to teleport behind the Golden Battle God and stab at its energy source again. The 6 Golden Battle Gods had different energy sources. It wasn't easy to stab them in one strike, but to someone like Zhou Wen who was familiar with the Golden Battle God, it naturally wasn't difficult. With Zhou Wen's cooperation, the Black Dragon killed the Golden Battle God Type 5. Unfortunately, nothing dropped this time. Following that, Zhou Wen used the same method to help the Black Dragon kill the Golden Battle God Type 6. Unfortunately, nothing dropped. The alarms on the 6 gates sounded at the same time. Something truly terrifying was coming. Chapter 1228. Zhou Wen didn't dare stay here for too long. He teleported back to Earth. This time, Zhou Wen's luck wasn't bad. He teleported to a city and removed the companion beasts on him, restoring his original appearance. It looked like a city in the West District. Zhou Wen didn't carefully identify where he was. He took out his phone and watched the live stream of the Venus Dimensional Zone. The alarms on the 6 doors were ringing. The Black Dragon was seriously injured. Although it looked at the doors warily, it didn't even know which door the other party had come out from. Bam! Before a gunshot sounded, the Black Dragon's head was blasted apart by a bullet. Dragon blood and brain splattered as the dragon's body collapsed. Then, the scene on the Rubik's Cube switched. Without a doubt, the Terragrade Black Dragon had already died inside. Humans didn't even see who had killed the Black Dragon. Zhou Wen later found some high-speed slow-motion footage from the internet, but he could barely see that the bullet had shot out from one of the doors. He couldn't even see what it looked like. All he saw was a blurry shadow. The various factions were analyzing the information regarding this battle. They had mostly analyzed the abilities of the 6 Golden Battle Gods for the first 4. Due to Zhou Wen's involvement, the information on the last 2 wasn't that complete, but they could roughly think of a safe way to deal with them. However, everyone shook their heads when they saw the final shot. No one had the confidence to block it for the time being. Ordinary people were more discussing Zhou Wen, who had taken advantage of the situation. They were very curious about what kind of person had the ability and courage to snatch food from the jaws of Tiger and retreat in time. As they didn't know his origins, many media outlets gave Zhou Wen nicknames when reporting. Names like King of Scavengers, King of Adventurers, Shameless Thief, Best at Picking Up Cheap Deals, Space Porter, and so on appeared one after another. In the end, most people used the title of King of Scavengers. Furthermore, many media outlets determined that King of Scavengers might be human, but many people felt that he wasn't human. Many factions on Earth had the same idea. They could naturally tell that Zhou Wen had used spatial teleportation to enter and exit the Venus Dimensional Zone. The factions with talents in this area were eager to take a share of the loot. After watching the entire process, Lu Yun was very tempted. However, after some consideration, he didn't dare head to Venus directly. Just like Zhou Wen, he waited for the opportunity for other creatures to enter before taking the opportunity to take advantage of them. Lu Yun was patient, but that didn't mean everyone was patient. There is a contractor overseas with a spatial guardian who chose to enter the Venus dimensional zone through the magic cube. Not all space-type powers had interstellar teleportation abilities, not to mention this was only a god-level guardian. When he arrived at the entrance of the Venus dimensional zone, the magic cube began its live stream again. When people saw him use spatial teleportation to enter the dimensional zone and fight the metal guards inside, they immediately realized that he was a mythical guardian. He was here to take advantage of the situation. His goal was probably to kill a few metal guards and then teleport out. Due to the previous battle video, the Guardian knew the metal guards very well. He had already thought a way to restrain them, so he easily finished off the metal guard. Furthermore, he was very lucky to drop a companion egg. The Guardian happily picked up the companion egg and wanted to teleport away before the 6 doors opened. He originally wanted to take advantage of the situation and kill a metal guard. However, to his surprise, the Guardian's expression changed drastically after teleporting again. He failed to leave the dimensional zone and was still in the room. In the next second, the 6 doors opened wide and groups of metal guards rushed out with guns. Bullets interweaved into an inescapable net. The Guardian teleported a few times and summoned his companion beast to block, but in the end he was riddled with holes by the dense bullets along with his companion beasts. He died a violent death. Instantly, all the humans watching the live stream were stunned, unsure what was going on. Liu Yun was secretly glad that he had held back and not teleported in immediately. Heavens, what happened just now? Why didn't the Guardian teleport out? Do you think everyone is a king of scavengers? The king of scavengers is at the terror grade. He can cooperate with the black dragon to kill the golden battle god. Isn't a mythical stage courting death if he wants to scavenge? The king of scavengers is really impressive. He can still run after picking it up. This fellow won't be able to return even if he picks it up. It's the same spatial teleportation ability. The effects of the terror grade and mythical grade should be about the same. Why can the king of scavengers come out, but the guardian can't? There must be other restrictions. The king of scavengers can break the restrictions. There's only one king of scavengers after all. Scavenging is risky. One has to be careful. Everyone discussed. This also made the factions that wanted to use their spatial abilities to enter to scavenge like Zhou. They didn't dare act rashly. Zhou was grinding in-game at that time, so he didn't know about the Guardian. Otherwise, he would have scavenged. However, after watching the video, Zhou knew what the problem was. It wasn't that the mythical spatial teleportation ability couldn't leave, but that the people who used the magic cube to reach Venus couldn't leave the dimensional zone. They could only fight to the end. Chapter 1229. The skeleton that resembled death shuttled through the bullets like a wandering ghost. The bullets hit its cloak, but they passed through it without injuring its body. Instead, after the skeleton brandished the scythe in its hand, groups of metal guards were sliced apart like chives. Soon, many-dimensional crystals and companion eggs fell to the ground. Zhou wasn't in a rush to enter as he continued watching the battle in front of the Rubik's Cube. Soon, the skeleton welcomed the Golden Battle God Type 1. When the frost bullet hit the skeleton's body, it passed through its body like an ordinary bullet. Even if the Golden Battle God took the initiative to detonate the frost bullet, the skeleton wasn't affected at all in the cold fog. Instead, it was like a devil in an ice hell. The scythe in its hand turned into a frost scythe as it cleaved the Golden Battle God's body into two. What creature is that? It's so powerful. It cleaved the Golden Battle God with one strike. This fellow looks like he has a chance of fighting to the end. That might not be the case. Let's wait and see. That fellow who looks like death can't be a calamity-grade existence, right? As people discussed, the Golden Battle God Type 2 had already appeared. The flame bomb exploded as terrifying flames engulfed the entire room. However, amidst the flames, the skeleton rushed out. Its body was covered in flames, and the scythe in its hand was also covered in flames. It was like a fiend in flames as it slashed the Golden Battle God Type 2 under the scythe. So powerful, Even Zhou Wen was somewhat surprised by the skeleton's strength. However, Zhou Wen didn't believe that it was at the calamity grade. The skeleton was very strong, but it was still a distance away from the calamity grade. At the very least, the skeleton had yet to reach that level among the calamity grade Zhou when it's seen. After the Golden Battle God Type 2 was killed, a companion egg dropped. Just as the skeleton was about to pick up the companion egg, he suddenly saw a black shadow flash. A figure snatched the companion egg in front of the skeleton. The skeleton was slightly taken aback. While he was in a daze, Zhou Wen had already put away the other mythical dimensional crystals and companion eggs. Holy *T, the king of scavengers has appeared again. Is this fellow addicted to picking? Isn't he afraid that the skeleton will turn hostile and kill him? Another Terragrade companion egg was taken by him. This is too easy to earn. Everyone was envious, jealous, and hateful. As for the skeleton, he was clearly different from the Black Dragon. When he saw the companion egg being snatched away by Zhou Wen, he didn't hesitate to swing his saber. Its figure was like a ghost, so fast that people couldn't even see it clearly. However, Zhou Wen teleported and dodged the skeleton's attack. Zhou Wen didn't leave the room because there was no place on Venus to view the Rubik's Cube. His phone didn't have a signal either. Even if he teleported back to Earth, he might not be able to teleport to a place with a signal. If he went out, he wouldn't know the situation in the room. The best way was to stay in the room and take advantage of the situation before leaving. The skeleton still wanted to attack Zhou Wen, but the Golden Battle God had already appeared. Lightning bolts shot out violently, leaving the skeleton in no mood to bother with Zhou Wen. I already have 3 Golden Battle God companion eggs. If I can gather all 6, will I be able to fuse them together? What can a Terror Grade companion beast set produce? Calamity Grade? Zhou Wen was filled with anticipation. It was reasonable for a mythical set to be compatible with horror and a horror set to be compatible with calamity. The skeleton was really strong. When it faced the Golden Battle God Type 3, it quickly gained the upper hand. The main reason was that the bullets with special stats couldn't injure it at all. Even if it was surrounded by lightning, the skeleton could use the power of the lightning for its own use just like before. Instead, it increased its strength. This fellow's skill is very powerful. Zhou Wen looked at the skeleton and began making plans. Anyway, this fellow is definitely doomed. Why don't I kill it? Who knows, a companion egg might drop. Of course, Zhou Wen didn't plan on taking action now. He continued watching from a corner of the room. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th Golden Battle Gods were slain by the skeleton's scythe. They didn't cause him much trouble. It could be seen that the skeleton's strength was likely a top existence at the Terror Grade. Unfortunately, killing 4 Golden Battle Gods resulted in only 1 stat crystal dropping. Naturally, it was snatched by Zhou Wen. The alarms on the 6 doors sounded at the same time. Zhou Wen took a deep breath. This time, he didn't teleport away. Instead, he took out a substitute talisman and stuck it on his head. The success rate of a substitute talisman was too low, but it was indeed useful as a lifesaver. Zhou Wen would draw a few when he had the time, but unfortunately, there were too few successes. Up to now, he only had 2 on him. Under normal circumstances, Zhou Wen couldn't bear to use them. He had taken him out this time to buy insurance. This was because Zhou Wen had already tested it the last time he entered the Venus dungeon. If 2 creatures were present at the same time, the monster inside the door could only kill one at a time. Zhou Wen had previously summoned Banana Fairy, Golden Battle God, and Heaven Azura to accompany him, but the 3 Terror Grade companion beasts were killed on spot. They didn't even see what the creature looked like. The blood-colored avatar was also killed. However, when Zhou Wen summoned a mythical companion beast by his side, the blood-colored avatar was the first to be killed. Therefore, Zhou Wen could roughly determine that the creature inside the door would kill the powerful creature first. Zhou Wen was only at the mythical stage, so if a Terror Grade was present, the first to be killed would be the Terror Grade. Without a Terror Grade present, he would be treated as a bird that stuck out and killed. Of course, just in case, Zhou Wen stuck a substitute talisman on himself. The skeleton was on standby, as he stared intently at one of the doors. It was where the previous bullet had shot out. However, according to Zhou Wen's experience, the bullet might not shoot out from that door. If he focused all his attention on the door, he would probably suffer greatly. Now, Zhou Wen wanted to know if the skeleton could withstand a single shot. If a top terror creature like him couldn't even withstand a single shot, the chances of clearing the Venus dungeon without a calamity-grade assistant were almost zero. Bam! Before a gunshot could be heard, the cloak on the skeleton's head was lifted by a powerful force, revealing a bald skull. As for one side of the skull, it shattered before the entire head exploded like a watermelon. The skeleton's body was also slammed into the wall by the powerful force, causing all its bones to scatter. Zhou Wen originally wanted to teleport away, but he suddenly realized that all the bones of the shattered skeleton were trembling. However, the door didn't immediately fire a second shot. In the next second, under everyone's gaze, the bones emitted a gray gas before flying up and condensing in one spot. Soon, they condensed into a skeleton again. Chapter 1230. I caught it. Zhou Wen was pleasantly surprised. Although he had received the shot with his life, he had still managed to do so. Compared to other terror-grade experts, it was already a huge improvement. Bam! Another gunshot sounded as the skeleton was blasted into pieces again. However, its body quickly condensed again and walked towards the door from which the bullet had shot out. He blocked it again. In the League of Defender, Immortal's eyes narrowed. The four heavenly kings also had different expressions. As long as they could block it, they still had hope. The most terrifying thing was that if they couldn't block it at all, they wouldn't even have a chance. It wasn't just the League of Defender. Many big shots had strange looks in their eyes when they saw this scene. They were secretly calculating the various possibilities. Everyone's first thought was to find an existence like the skeleton that could block the bullet hole. Bam! 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 The skeleton was blasted apart again and again, but he stood up again and again. It could be seen that the skeleton had a very special ability. It wasn't as simple as self-healing. If it was just self-healing, he would have died long ago. Just as everyone thought that they had finally seen a glimmer of hope, the skeleton's body was blasted apart again after the seventh gunshot. However, this time, the skeleton's body was reduced to ashes. Clang! An oval-shaped bone object fell from the skeleton's exploded body, producing a series of crisp and jarring sounds. Zhou Wen reacted extremely quickly and instantly snapped to his senses. He teleported over and grabbed the bone object before teleporting out of the Venus dimensional zone. That works too. He could take both sides. He could pick up both sides. Everyone was dumbfounded. All the benefits have been taken by the King of Scavengers. If he can pick it up, that's his ability. If you have the ability, go pick it up too. That's right. The King of Scavengers' spatial teleportation ability is really powerful. The Guardian from before is a lesson to be learned. It's not that easy to take advantage of others. Ordinary people were discussing the King of Scavengers, but existences like the Federation's upper echelons weren't focused on Zhou Wen. They wanted to know why the skeleton had died. Had the skeleton's abilities reached their limits, or had the dimensional creature's abilities in the door changed again? Cave Era, can you analyze the seventh strike? Immortal looked at Cave Era and asked. Cave Era was good at time abilities. If anyone could analyze something, it would be her. Cave Era hesitated for a moment before saying, I need to give it a try. I need to use some supplementary items to circulate the power of time to reconstruct the process of that strike. How long? Xian asked. At least 3 days, Cave Era replied. The North District's ultimate family clan. Sadie, did you see it clearly? Lance and company looked at Sadie. With the Eye of Odin, Sadie was the person most likely to see the seventh shot clearly. That shot was too fast. It's still very difficult to see it clearly even if it's slow. I need some time to analyze it, Sadie said helplessly. The same situation played out in the various major forces, and the various forces analysts began to take action. Zhou Wen didn't analyze the shot. At that moment, He was hugging a bone and smiling foolishly. I made a killing. I really made a killing this time. Zhou hugged the oval bone and wished he could kiss it. It was actually the skeleton's companion egg. Furthermore, its stats and abilities were so powerful that it surprised Zhou. Death number 10. Terror Grade Life Providence. Undying Body Life Soul. Death's Scythe Wheel of Destiny. Undying Indestructibility Terror Transformation. Death's 10th Sacrificial Day Strength. 99 Speed. 99 Constitution. 99 Essence Energy. 99 Talent Skill. Death's Harvest. Shadow of the Underworld. Dead Soul Dance. Death Backlash. Companion Form. None. There was naturally no need to elaborate on Death number 10's combat strength. Its strongest point was that it had an undying body and the ability to be undying. This was the key to its ability to withstand a calamity grade power. In terms of attack strength, Death number 10 was one of the top terror grade creatures, but compared to a calamity grade creature, it could only be slaughtered. However, its life providence and Wheel of Destiny allowed it to have extremely strong survivability. Zhou hatched Death number 10 and brought him into the game. This time, he didn't head to the Venus dungeon. Instead, he got his terror grade companion beast to attack Death number 10. Death number 10's body was destroyed again and again. It was continuously destroyed 7 times, but it could still recover. Zhou kept making attempts, but be it 10 or 100 times, Death number 10 could recover again. Clearly, the reason why it was killed at the 7th strike wasn't because its abilities had reached their limits, but because the calamity grade power had undergone a special change. The various factions could only use the current information to analyze it, but Zhou had one more benefit than them. With Death number 10, he could have entered the game to experiment again and again. This was much more effective than using other terror grade companion beasts to forcefully block it. It was also more likely for him to figure out the secret of the 7th strike. Unfortunately, the 24 hours weren't up yet. Zhou couldn't immediately bring Death number 10 into the Venus dungeon. As for entering the Venus dimensional zone in reality, Zhou definitely wouldn't do it unless he followed someone to take advantage of the situation. The various families were secretly taking action. Their targets were basically guardians or companion beasts with spatial abilities and powerful undying abilities. Only with these two powers could they successfully conquer the Venus dimensional zone. Otherwise, no matter how many people went, it would be suicide. After Death number 10, no creature challenged the Venus dimensional zone. Zhou kept grinding dungeons. It wasn't easy for him to last 24 hours. He immediately brought Death number 10 into the Venus dungeon in-game. Perhaps he had used up all his luck in reality. When he grinded the Venus dungeon again, he didn't even drop a Metal Guard companion egg, much less a Golden Battle God companion egg. However, none of this mattered. Zhou only wanted to know why Death number 10 was killed at the 7th strike. The alarm sounded as Zhou used the power of Great Brahma. At the same time, he pushed Truth Listener's ability to its limits. He also wanted to analyze the secret of a 7th strike. Bam! With a gunshot, even someone as powerful as Death number 10's body exploded. Fortunately, Grim Reaper number 10 recovered very quickly. Just like in reality, Grim Reaper number 10 was killed and resurrected again and again. The first 6 strikes were identical to reality, but Zhou still observed very carefully. He had to find the difference between the 7th strike and the first 6. Bam! Finally, the 7th strike sounded and Death number 10 died. His body was reduced to ashes. Just like in reality, he couldn't be revived. Chapter 1231. Zhou hurriedly summoned Banana Fairy, the 3 Golden Battle Gods, the Heavenly Azura, the Limitless Demon Dragon King, and the Emperor's 3 swords and got them a charge towards the door. With a series of gunshots, apart from the Emperor's 3 swords being held by Zhou and not being killed, the other Terror Grade companion beasts were killed with a single shot. They didn't even have the chance to dodge and were almost killed. The reason why it was said to be almost was because the first bullet that shot at the Heavenly Azura had been dodged by the Heavenly Azura. However, it was followed up with another shot, and the heavenly Azura was still killed. He actually dodged it. Zhou was greatly surprised that the heavenly Azura could dodge the shot. He originally believed that apart from taking it head-on like death number 10, it would be very difficult for him to fight a calamity-grade expert head-on. However, the heavenly Azura's dodging of the shot made Zhou see another possibility. The heavenly Azura's ability to dodge was naturally due to luck and good fortune. With pure speed, the heavenly Azura definitely couldn't dodge. After all, he couldn't even dodge Zhou's teleportation in time. No matter how fast the heavenly Azura was, he couldn't be faster than Zhou. If luck and fortune can be dodged, there might be a way. Zhou thought of the heavenly men in the heavenly realm. Those heavenly men had luck and fortune skills, and they had the companion form of heavenly robe. Zhou thought that if the luck and fortune of heavenly robe and heavenly Azura blade could be augmented on him, he might be able to dodge calamity-grade bullets. The augmentation effects of luck and fortune were most afraid of large-scale attacks. But from the looks of it, the calamity grade in the door didn't seem to have any area of effect attacks. If it was only used to dodge bullets, luck and fortune were extremely useful. I wonder if the Celestials in the Celestial Realm have other companion forms. If I have gloves, hats, boots, or something like that, I could get a set of equipment that increases luck and fortune. Together with my beloved little tiger, I might really be able to dodge the bullets of a calamity-grade super. With this in mind, Zhou felt an itch in his heart. He wished he could head to the heavenly realm to grind some heavenly men again. However, Netherworld City in-game was just too difficult. Without Li Xian's help, Zhou could barely attempt the other punishments, but the final 1,000-year dream was just too difficult. Zhou wasn't confident. Is there no other way to clear Netherworld City? Zhou opened the Netherworld City dungeon and planned on studying it. While Zhou was studying Netherworld City, the various factions were vying for the opportunity to analyze the Seventh Strike. In the past few days, no one had challenged the Venus Dimensional Zone. They were all thinking of solutions. From the looks of the current situation, the Dimension indeed didn't have much control over the Magic Cube operation. Otherwise, they would definitely have given the League of Defender the green light. From the looks of it, the League of Defender didn't receive such preferential treatment. The various major powers were also searching for the Leaky King's whereabouts. They wanted to find out who he was and whether they could use him. If he couldn't use them, it would be best to get rid of them. This ability to move freely in the Venus Dimensional Zone was just too terrifying. If he could go to Venus, he could go anywhere on Earth. With such a person around, many people couldn't sleep or eat in peace. Many ordinary people were also discussing the Leaky King. Many media outlets had specially created a special on the Leaky King. They even made a table to count how many good items the Leaky King had picked up. According to the statistics, the Leaky King had already picked up 2 golden battle god companion eggs and a skeleton's bone. It was unknown if it was a companion egg or a dimensional crystal. He had also picked up 7 mythical companion eggs and even more dimensional crystals. This count immediately made many people's eyes turn red. In just a few days, the benefits the Leaky King had obtained had already exceeded the savings of the Federation's top experts. Many people jumped out to condemn the Leaky King, believing that his character was low and that he shouldn't have done such a despicable thing. There were also experts who suggested that the Leaky King should donate the companion eggs he had obtained for the Federation to study. It would also help humanity conquer the Venus Dimensional Zone earlier. This triggered another huge war of words online. Some people believed that the Leaky King should donate it or at least cooperate with the research. Others believed that the Leaky King had obtained it through his own abilities. He had risked his life for it, so why should he hand it over to the Federation? Zhou occasionally paid attention to the Rubik's Cube situation and saw these discussions. He had no thoughts about it. He had no intention of donating it at all. It wasn't completely because he couldn't bear to part with it. Another reason was that no one on Earth knew the Venus Dimensional Zone better than him. Who could study it faster than him? However, this matter gave Zhou a wake-up call. It's indeed a little troublesome to grind for Heaven Dao. Furthermore, there might not be a complete set of gloves or boots. Instead of going through so much trouble, why don't I try exchanging for a companion beast that brings happiness and luck from others? Joan only had this thought in mind. He hadn't thought of a specific method. Furthermore, luck and luck were rare abilities. For example, an epic lucky baby tiger could be sold for an astronomical price. Mythical and terror grade were even more valuable. Even if others had them, they might not be willing to exchange for them. Momentarily unable to think of a good transaction method, Joan could only continue studying the method to clear Netherworld City. At the same time, he waited for the Venus dungeon to respawn or for other creatures to rush into the Venus dimensional zone. For 2 consecutive days, no creatures entered the Venus dimensional zone. Joan grinded the Venus dungeon twice more. Every time, Death God number 10 died at the 7th shot. Even if he let the other companion beasts block a few shots first, as long as Death God number 10 suffered the 7th shot, he would still die. Joan tried again. If he dragged the 7th shot and let Death God number 10 suffer from the 8th shot, would something special happen? With this test, Joan really discovered a problem. After the first 7 shots, by the 8th shot, the bullet was unable to kill the Grim Reaper number 10. It was not until the 7th bullet of a new round that the Grim Reaper number 10 was killed. As for the Heaven Azura's dodging ability, it was sometimes ineffective. It wasn't very reliable. From the looks of it, only the 7th shot of every round is fatal to Death God number 10. As long as I could drag this shot, Death God number 10 can actually last for a very long time. Joan immediately saw hope of clearing the dungeon. Although he hadn't verified it, it was definitely feasible in theory. Now, Joan still had a problem to resolve. It wasn't enough to just hold on. He had to rush into the door and find the dimensional creature inside. Only by finding it could he kill it. Otherwise, it would be useless no matter how long he lasted. Joan tried teleporting to the door where the bullets were fired, but he didn't see the dimensional creature inside. The bullets shot out from the other doors and killed the blood-colored avatar. After trying several methods, he failed to find the dimensional creature. Chapter 1232. A few days later, another creature challenged the Venus dimensional zone. However, no one had seen this creature before. Before the Venus dimensional zone appeared, it had never come here. The creature looked like a giant turtle. Its shell had a diameter of more than 3 meters, and its entire body was crystalline like jade. However, its head was like a dragon's. It had horns and whiskers, but it couldn't retract into its shell. As no one knew where this dimensional creature came from, it attracted even more attention. However, more people wanted to know if the king of scavenging would come in to take advantage of the situation. Joan didn't dare rashly enter before figuring out the level of the turtle. He wasn't in a hurry. It wouldn't be too late to enter after the turtle killed the golden battle god. His life was more important. After the turtle entered the Venus dimensional zone, the metal guards launched an attack. However, when the bullets hit the turtle's body, not only did they fail to injure it, but they even rebounded and penetrated the metal guard's body. Originally, these metal bullets couldn't injure the metal guards, but after being rebounded by the turtle, the bullets seemed to have some strange power attached to them. They actually killed the metal guards. A large number of metal guards rushed out and fired at Big Turtle with their submachine guns. The bullets couldn't hurt Big Turtle at all. The bullets that bounced back killed all the metal guards. What powerful rebound ability! Everyone was alarmed. Zhang Chunxiu and Zhang Yuji were watching the live stream together. He stared at the turtle and frowned as though he was thinking about something. "This turtle looks a little familiar," Zhang Yuji said after watching for a while. Zhang Chunxiu said, "In ancient times, there was a dragon turtle. Legend has it that it was the son of the dragon god. It carried the river diagram and the Book of the Luo on its back. It revealed the number of the world. Everything was in the form of Taiji. It was connected to astronomy and geography. It was infinitely mysterious." That's right. I was wondering why it looks so familiar. In the pictures and the books at home, the dragon turtle looks very similar to it. Zhang Yuji thought for a moment and said, "If this is really a dragon turtle, then it's a creature that came from Earth. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?" Zhang Chuanxiu said meaningfully. The golden battle god appeared, but his bullets were also reflected by the dragon turtle. A dimensional crystal dropped. On careful look, it was a skill crystal. Seeing that big turtle didn't seem to have any intention of attacking others or picking up the items on the ground, Zhou didn't hesitate any longer. He teleported to Venus and headed for the Venus dimensional zone, planning on picking up the items. To his surprise, just as Zhou teleported into the room, he realized that a figure had already picked up the golden battle god dimensional crystal on the ground. Taking a closer look, it was a person wearing starry armor, and he looked a little familiar. Zhou thought for a moment and immediately recalled that this person had participated in the Rubik's Cube ranking battle in the past. He was one of the earlier Guardians, and his strength back then was rather impressive. However, he hadn't participated in the battle much, so Zhou hadn't paid much attention to him. He couldn't even remember his name, but he remembered that there was such a person. At this time, the people who were watching the live broadcast saw that the king of lucky pickings had been snatched by someone else. There were those who were gloating, those who wanted to watch the show, and those who were looking forward to a fight. "Sorry, you're late." The person put away the skill crystal and went to pick up the other crystals on the ground. Zhou's reaction wasn't slow. Seeing that the turtle had no intention of taking the initiative to attack, he quickly snatched the dimensional crystals on the ground. However, Zhou was surprised to discover that the other party's teleportation ability wasn't slower than his. Every time he teleported, he would be able to snatch the dimensional crystals before him. However, this way, Zhou would immediately discover the other party's identity. It wasn't that Zhou's judgment was good, but that he had also cultivated in the other party's essence energy art. However, the other party's cultivation direction was somewhat different from his, but the foundation was the same. It was easy to tell. Unless there's a third person in the world who cultivates the sky-stealing, sun-shifting art. This fellow is definitely eldest senior brother Lu Yin. Zhou sized up the person and thought to himself, it's the same sky-stealing, sun-shifting art, but this fellow seems to be more well-rounded. Zhou sky-stealing, sun-shifting art had always taken the path of the grand universe. He could continuously teleport between the stars in a short period of time, but his accuracy wasn't high enough. Lu Yun's interstellar teleportation ability was relatively weak, but his accuracy was better than Zhou's. He could also use it for short-distance teleportation. Zhou didn't develop the potential of the sky-stealing, sun-shifting art in this aspect. Instead, he used the God-Fiend Era's ability to replace it. One specialized in short-distance teleportation, while the other specialized in interstellar teleportation. Furthermore, Zhou had learned too many things. He wasn't as focused on the sky-stealing, sun-shifting art as Lu Yun was. "I'm really sorry. It looks like you've made a wasted trip." Lu Yun was extremely smug, as he didn't forget to tease Zhou. As Zhou had teleported using the God-Fiend Era, Lu Yun didn't realize that the king of scavengers in front of him was Zhou. He was feeling smug that he could steal the limelight of the king of scavengers in front of all humans. "Even if you have the life to snatch it, you have to have the life to leave," Zhou deliberately said with a changed voice. "You can scare others, but you can't scare me, holy pirate." Lu Yun first reported his name before continuing. "I've already observed it clearly. As long as I don't use the magic cube to teleport over or enter the Venus dimensional zone through the door, I can teleport out at any time. Am I right?" Zhou was slightly taken aback. He wasn't surprised that Lu Yun could guess the truth. Instead, he was somewhat puzzled. He didn't know why Lu Yun had said it in front of all the Earthlings. It looked like he had done it on purpose. With Lu Yun's greed, there was no reason for him to not earn a fortune in silence and instead reveal the secret. "Then you have to have the life to leave," Zhou repeated coldly as he held the Shura saber in his hand. "I'm so scared." Lu Yun patted his chest with his hand, looking afraid, but his eyes were filled with mockery. Without a word, Zhou slashed at Lu Yun. He didn't really want to kill Lu Yun to snatch the dimensional crystal back, but he wanted to see how strong Lu Yun was now. Just like him, Lu Yun was very good at movement techniques. Zhou Wen estimated that Lu Yun's movement techniques weren't inferior to his. However, to his surprise, Lu Yun didn't dodge when he slashed at him. He held one hand behind his back, looking as though he was invincible. The moment the Shura saber arrived in front of him, Zhou Wen saw Lu Yun's right hand flash as two fingers clamped onto the Shura saber's blade. No good. Zhou Wen knew that even a peak terror expert who specialized in physical strength and finger strength wouldn't be able to clamp onto the Shura saber that was slashing down, much less Lu Yun. However, although Lu Yun's body wasn't strong, he still had Star Stealer. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.